south.
Even if it's
south.
like 30, even if it's like 30 in Omaha.
Was that like a 2-hour trip, 3-hour trip?
Yeah. It's like on the way to Kansas City.
Nice.
Yeah. It's like, don't worry about it.
Hey, so you know, as we are coming up on Halloween next week, all of the candy that is out there. I just overheard a guy talking. Is candy corn a discussion that you have to have an opinion on?
Yeah, I think so. It comes up every year. Everybody says like 92% of the people are like, I hate candy corn. Please get it away from me. And then there's like those 8% of people that are like, actually, it's the best candy. And let me tell you why it's the best candy.
Gosh, no, it's not.
And everybody knows a person like that. I think
this guy's rubbing it in our face.
Yeah, it's like 1 out of every 10.
This guy's rubbing it in our face. He's got
Wow.
4 bags of candy corn. What, 5?
Why?
He's got 5 bags of candy corn.
Why so much candy corn, sir?
Oh my gosh. 5 kids. Okay, so kid gets a bag. Oh wow.
Okay,
Can be a late night
get
for you.
the kid a bag of Skittles, sir. Don't bring him the candy corn. Bring him some Skittles.
This is gummy candy.
Now he's making him try some.
It's gummy candy corn. I didn't even know such thing existed.
Isn't it already kind of gummy?
Everything comes in a gummy now these days, right? Like I feel like you could get a Twix in a gummy.
Sir, that is a mixture of sugar, fondant, corn syrup, vanilla flavor, marshmallow cream. Yeah, I know.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
They melt it into a liquid candy. It's called a slurry. I just want you also to look at the ingredients also that I've not gotten to that are on there.
Yeah, there's also things in there that we just don't know about.
Look, I don't care about the ingredients of my candy. It's just I just know that it tastes bad.
Okay, so this guy here in front of us, very nice gentleman, is a professional grocery shopper because look at how he has everything. Like I just throw stuff into the cart. This gentleman has everything like placed together. That is a good-looking shopping cart.
Yeah, the bananas are stacked on top of each other. You've got the apples. Actually, all the entire fruit. The front of his cart is the fruit section.
That's what I do.
You got the meats below. The milk is all stacked in the back. And and then you got some of the apples. Is that applesauce? Is that what that was? Oh, a little bit of air. Okay. So, this is a very organized shopping cart. You're right. That is an astute observation.
Well, actually, I usually go with like the vegetables and the fresh stuff in the child seat area.
Yep.
And I kind of fill that thing up, and then the rest of it is kind of just whatever. And there's probably 4 or 5 things my wife wants me to get, and then the rest I go to the grocery store, and it's stuff that I've randomly picked out that I just saw on the shelf. Grab it.
Yeah.
God, Man, I'm embarrassed. If you would see my shopping cart, sir, I just go aisle to aisle and everything just goes in.
Yeah.
Well, see, I forget aisles too.
Have you worked in a grocery store before? Okay.
Oh, okay. So she'd be proud of the organization there. If it was disorganized mayhem.
Yeah.
That's good. You have a standard.
Connor, who does the shopping in your household? Your wife or you?
Mostly me. I mean, she'll get stuff kind of as she needs it that I don't like buy or know how to find or whatever it might be. But like for the big stuff, for the big Costco runs every couple of weeks, that's me, and I'm happy to do it because then I could get the stuff that that is not on the list that I would just get. It's nice.
So
there's the picture. There it is. Wow.
Yeah, it's that is an elite shopping cart.
That's an awful lot of vegetables, sir.
That is a 5-star shopping cart.
Go to the frozen aisle a little bit more.
And the best part about it is, I bet in the picture you can't see the gummy candy corn either. That's hidden. It's almost like he's ashamed of it.
Yeah, go find some French fries or tater tots.
Hey, Connor would like you to mix in some frozen stuff. Maybe hit aisle 4 and 5 here in Hy-Vee. Oh, now he's searching. Yeah.
He's like, it's in here somewhere.
Yeah.
I know it is.
It's pasta.
It's a very busy Hy-Vee.
2 gallons of milk.
Yes. Hey, more important, this upcoming competition season for Nebraska to defeat Purdue in football or basketball?
Football.
Okay.
I mean, they're not going to beat them in basketball, right?
Well, you could have the possibility that you would have beaten a number 1 team in the country.
Yeah. Now, do they
I'm
play
not disagreeing with you.
They play the Boilers at home this year at PBA? I can't remember.
I think they do. Yeah.
I think
I'm almost positive it's one of the
that's part of the fun December schedule.
Yeah, I think that one is at home.
Oh, December fun time. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. It wasn't
Big Ten championship.
Yeah, wasn't that like just after New Year's or just before New Year's last year when they had that game and they got screwed on a call at the end?
I believe it was just before.
Early December.
Yeah. So it was part of December fun time last year. That's what the Big Ten should call it, by the way. The two conference games that are just smack dab in the middle of all the other non-conference games. December fun time.
December fun time.
No, I was off here. I was thinking that you know what? Because Nebraska gets to play Creighton, Minnesota, Michigan State, K-State. Why not throw Purdue in there? They do not play Purdue until Tuesday night, January 9th at PBA.
Okay. All right.
I think that was a December game.
Everybody will have a little New Year's cheer. They'll be just they'll be early on in their gym regiment before they're about to give it up.
Yep.
Which is great.
This year's going to be the year, Connor.
Everybody will be feeling really good on January 9th.
Yep.
Don't talk to me on January 27th, though.
Right.
Yeah, but okay, so what about the people that are thinking about going to a gym and are like, I don't want to go when everybody goes, like right around Christmas, New Year's resolution time. What if you start in early December or start now to get a rush so you're not grouped into, oh, I see what you're doing. You're trying to lose weight, New Year's resolution.
You'll quit in February.
I think
now's a good time.
I did that last year. I joined in, I believe it was around Thanksgiving. And I was like, yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna get ahead of it. And I was going actually pretty consistently for the first time in my life, all the way up until like the end of March, probably. And then it fell off really hard. And now, we had to cancel the membership. But
life happens.
There will be another circle. It will happen again at some point. I'm just waiting for the time when it really hits me again.
You're gonna get motivated.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
It always happens.
Probably within the next 60 days or so. Yeah, that's usually when it goes.
Did you feel any shame, because the people that are regulars in the gym, they see you for the first time and they're like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, they know.
Yeah.
They know that I'm new.
It's tough.
So you have to really, dive in. And then once you're there for a few days in a row, people give you that mutual respect, a couple head nods in the locker room. They're like, yep, okay, all right, he's here every day. This is nice. And really what I was doing, I was just going into I was shooting some baskets, maybe lifting a couple weights, unorganized, and then going into the sauna afterwards.
Well, yeah. And do you ever convince yourself, you're like, you know what? I didn't do a lot, but just that much is better than nothing. So then you kind of justify, you know what? I did do something. And then you can make peace with it.
Yeah, sometimes I just wait around.
Kind of declines.
I would get done with all the stuff that I had set out to do in about 42 minutes. And then I was like, you know what? I got to make this an hour. I don't think they keep track of how long I'm here, the time spent in the gym, because they don't check you out on the way out.
Yeah, what's another 18 minutes?
But yeah, I better stay for an hour just so I can make sure I can tell people I did something. So that's what I did, and it wasn't very fruitful, but I'll get the itch at some point in the next couple months. Don't worry, it'll happen.
Hey, you guys, as you do on Friday, have Steve Sipple on. So we've had a couple of things. So you guys are on the clock here. So that when he was on with John and Josh, he said he was watching the TikTok.
Yes, he's on TikTok.
Then yesterday he dropped because he drove under one of those hanging school zone lights.
Yeah.
And he said it affects his cell phone.
And he said it so matter of fact.
So you guys have to top that today with a Sippleism.
Oh, there will be something. I always make sure to ask, hey, Sipple, what are you doing? And last week it was amazing. It was the first time of ever time. We have had Sipple on hundreds of times over the years. And it was the first time where he was like, I'm not really doing anything, and he was very calm. He wasn't rushing around. And then at the end of the interview, a plumber showed up at his door. So
like randomly or there to do a task?
Apparently it was the neighbor's plumber, and he needed to knock on Sipple's door for some reason. I didn't get the full story there, but
that makes sense.
There's always got to be something. Even if he's doing nothing, there will be something that happens to him. So I have no doubt. I have no doubt that something will happen today.
The Life of Steve Sipple.
Oh yeah,
I would watch that show regularly.
Oh seriously, yeah. If we just had Sipple on camera all the time, it would be super entertaining. He would hate it, but it would be super.
Here's the thing: you guys are a little bit younger, and Nick didn't hang out in Lincoln, so I knew Steve Sipple way back in the day when Sip was covering horse racing, boxing, and other things. And I wish I would have documented things that Sipple did back then, because they probably topped what he does now.
Yeah,
but he has had a life full of Sippelisms that are worthy of a book.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks in Columbus.
He is a Nebraska treasure that we must preserve at all costs.
I completely agree. He's incredible. Just an incredible person. And people often confuse this. Like I really, really like Sipple. Like I consider him a very good friend, and he is like. None of this is a bit. He's just this is just the way he is all the time, and it's amazing.
Sipple is a great man. Yes. He is a great man.
Sipple is a great man.
All right, have a wonderful day. Enjoy your sports weekend, and both of you guys. So Nick has hockey. You have Nebraska women's basketball PA duties this weekend.
That's exactly correct.
Boys.
Sunday afternoon, come join us at PBA. It should be fun. Right. I don't even remember who they're playing. Who are they playing? Does anybody know?
Athletes in action.
let me get this answer for you real quick.
Air Force Prep.
Dakota Wesleyan.
All right, yeah. How did we forget that? Come on.
Are there any difficult names to say on the Dakota Wesleyan roster?
Gary, I take it one day at a time. I'm not to Sunday yet. We're gonna work on Friday today, and then we're gonna work on Saturday tomorrow.
Hey, that's a good life lesson. One day at a time.
I'm OOU.
Into a good little sitcom too.
We're trying to go 1-0 today. I'm OOU, man. Like Sunday, I'm not worried about yet. It's about right now.
DVR.
All right. Have a good weekend, boys.
All right, boys. That is Gary and Nick out at the Papillion Hy-Vee, where I'm sure it's 65 degrees and sunny this morning and afternoon. You can join them at a local Hy-Vee on the Friday before Nebraska plays a home game, which would be today, and 2 more times, right? Yes, before the Iowa game, which I don't know the schedule for that. So maybe just one more time.
I don't know.
Maybe just one more time when Maryland comes to town on the 11th of November. The Hy-Vee show would be on the Friday the 10th. All right, that is the crossover. It is powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. It's Friday. We got all our guests. Munson with some fresh recruiting stuff from last night. Nebraska lost a big commitment to its class last night. No bueno. No bueno. So we'll talk to Bunsen, Bryan Munson at the top of the 11 o'clock hour. BC will be a little bit later today because Fred Hoiberg is speaking this afternoon. And the aforementioned national treasure, Stephen M. Sipple, will join us in the noon hour as well. That's the lineup powered by the Referees. And John Higgins, Weather Guard, will be back to start things off on a Friday next.
That's the crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Oh, you don't like my old-timey voice?
I always forget you have one, Nick. You don't need to take it personally.
No, it's
do your old-timey voice, Nick.
Hi.
Wow. Great work, Nick.
You put me on the spot.
Yeah? Well, you're the one who was like, why don't you let me do my old man voice? And then you said, hey.
I've got a Richard Nixon impersonation. Oh, can I hear it? Hi.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Cold and windy Friday with the high today of 42 degrees, but still feeling like the lower 30s for this afternoon. Gusts out of the north possible in excess of 30 miles an hour, especially through the first half of the day. Mostly cloudy skies become mostly sunny for your afternoon. Mostly clear with increasing clouds overnight tonight. Cold, a freeze warning with a low near 30. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Hey, Tapper for the FanDuel Sportsbook, and the NFL season is in swing. And guess what? FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, has another deal for you right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's right, $150 if your team wins. So pick a heavy favorite if you want to, on the money line. It's $150 in bonus bets with the FanDuel Sportsbook. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there is no better time to get in on the action. It is right now. There's spreads, there's player props, there's anytime touchdown scores, but take a look at those money line bets and you can get your $150 in bonus bets right now. All you got to do is go to FanDuel.com/Happer and kick off the NFL season the right way with FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Visit Sid Dillon Chevrolet, Nebraska's #1 volume Chevy dealer, to find the perfect vehicle for wherever your plans take you. Shop SidDillonChevy.com. Chevy, find new roads.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Husker fans, this year marks the 100th season of Memorial Stadium. You can preserve memories from this iconic stadium with a limited edition, fully licensed football for $119. The ball also features championship and stadium history, as well as a full panel panoramic color photo of Memorial Stadium. Only 5,000 footballs will be produced. To order, call 1-800-345-2868. That's 1-800-345-2868. Or visit NICOsports.com. That's NIKCO Sports.com.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up AutoSave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools. One bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
AutoSave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
It's the Connor Happer Show with Connor Happer and Josh Hodson. Let's get ready to rumble.
Licensing of the phrase "let's get ready to rumble" just over the last 7+ years internationally is grossed approximately close to $400 million in retail sales.
Really?
You guys look like, what do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
On 1620, The Zone.
All right, good morning and welcome in. Happy Friday. It is the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. I'm Connor Happer. Josh Hodson is here. Happy Halloween weekend and happy Big Ten weather season. It's here. You'll flip on an 11 o'clock game this week and it'll be out of the Big Ten conference and you'll say, wow, why is it so gray?
That looks gray and cold.
Why is it so gray? And why is it so cold? And why is everybody wearing black in the stands? Well, it is that time of year. Life comes at you fast, Josh. Here we are this weekend. We're expecting some weather tomorrow evening. Maybe the snow will hold off before the game ends, or maybe not. I honestly kind of hope not. I hope Matt Rule gets his wish.
This is the kind of weather that makes Matt Rule's nipples hard, literally and figuratively.
I hope Matt Rule gets his wish and that he just continues to drag people down into the mud with them and they kind of roll around in there for a little while.
Hell yeah.
As Nebraska plays Purdue this weekend. There are some challenges to it. Rule talked about it yesterday. We'll hear from him on Purdue and a smattering of other items as well. We'll have our keys to the game coming up. We'll actually do that a little bit early today because BC had to move some things around. So we'll shift with them. Looking at our Friday just show rundown and what we do. I mean, we're pretty much just like locked into the same deal every single week because There's only so much time, Josh.
Yeah.
I'm asking the people in management to give us a 6-hour show.
Whoa.
We'll see where that turns up.
Careful, they'll put the last 2 hours on YouTube exclusively.
That's true.
And then we'll be working in an even uglier room.
Keys to the game and our weekend picks. Josh, we both went 4-2 last week.
Impressive.
So I believe that I have only beat you in a single week once. Maybe 0 times.
This is a dominant run, like the 27 Yankees.
You're just wondering. You're like a bend but don't break defense. And I'm just sitting here wondering, I'm like, when's it gonna break? When's the dam gonna break?
When's he gonna have that 1-6 weekend?
When's somebody gonna hit a 65-yard touchdown run on him? Like where's Jonathan Taylor when you need him? So I'm just waiting for it.
No, we're in the lab, Connor. We're in the lab. We're we're going 1-0 every week. And if we die, we die. But we haven't died yet.
I'm waiting for it, but I might not be able to wait much longer. It's like we're getting to the point in an Iowa football game where like, why do they only have 6 points?
They know they're running out of time.
Like
right?
you're watching on a replay, Monday. You're like, I know Iowa wins this game, but why are they down by 10 and there's 8 minutes left in the game? They win? How? So we're getting to that point. I'm starting to ask some questions about myself. Might have to start taking some shots here. Ooh. So we will get to our weekend picks in the 1 o'clock hour before we get out of here. Like I said, BC will join us at 1 today, and Sipple in the noon hour. Bryan Munson is coming up in about a half hour with some big recruiting news coming out of last night. Nebraska lost its running back in the class, and there's a lot of questions about it. What happens next at that position? And Kawan Lacey was pretty well regarded as one of the top players in the class. So it's a big loss for Nebraska. There's no doubt about that. Elsewhere tonight is game 1 of the Fall Classic. I was going to say a number there. What is it? Probably like 120, somewhere around there.
Oh, good question.
100. Which Fall Classic is this, Josh? Is there
119th edition of the Fall Classic?
So close.
Yeah, you were right on there.
119th edition of the Fall Classic. Just like they always say every summer, the 100 and whatever edition of the Midsummer Classic. This is the Fall Classic. We have the Arizona Diamondbacks, America's team, against the Texas Rangers, who think they're America's team. They wear America's colors. George W. is throwing out the first pitch tonight.
Oh, really?
Yes. He's back for the first time since the 01 World Series, which he also threw a first pitch against the Diamondbacks.
Wow.
Yeah. People forget about that.
Huh. Good for him.
George W. would just mow down the Diamondbacks at this point.
Former owner
of the Texas Rangers.
Yes.
Indeed. So we will talk about that throughout the show. 6:03 first pitch tonight on Fox. Game 7 of the World Series, by the way, would be next Saturday night, which I don't know if that falls on the right day for baseball to have a successful viewership number if we get to Game 7. But we'll have the World Series throughout this weekend and next week. High school football playoffs begin tonight. Perfect weather for it. It doesn't quite remind me of that one time when I was in high school and we played at Norfolk and it was 12 degrees and I had to punt that rock into the stand. Not quite there yet. Not quite there yet, but everybody's got their jackets and gloves. Get those hand warmers from Bass Pro Shop, whatever you got to do, and get out there for high school football playoffs tonight because there's some great rivalry matchups, and I think we'll end up having some pretty good games as well. Like I said, we'll jump into some audio bites too. I have one before we get to the Connor Stallion story from yesterday that the World Herald broke. I have one take on Thursday Night Football, Josh. First of all, if you joined us on Bucks plus 8.5, you're welcome.
That was a service we gave to you.
I knew that was going to happen. I knew that they were going to backdoor cover. I could feel it the whole time. Not really. Mike Evans had to make an amazing catch in the end zone. But that drive where they punched it was it felt like a 30-play drive. It was just, all right, we're going to go 3 yards at a time. And there's going to be some penalties in there, some bailouts. We had a roughing the passer on a 4th down. And the Bucks ended up getting into the end zone and only losing by 6 last night. They got the ball back too, and then they had a chance at a Hail Mary. And here's my take. Have you seen the replay of the Hail Mary, Josh?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so Baker Mayfield throws up. They get all the way to like the 50-yard line after a whole bunch of penalties and like 3 yard
and dunking their
just,
way
just
down the
3-yard
field.
passes go out of bounds. Hopefully it takes only 4 seconds off the clock. And so they get down there and you get down to 4 seconds on the clock and Baker throws it up there just to the scrum of people and it ended up landing in a gigantic hole in the middle of the end zone. And Chris Godwin, had he turned around a little bit earlier, has himself a Hail Mary touchdown. It would have been the most anticlimactic Hail Mary of all time. And ended up falling to the turf. But elsewhere on that play, we had a whole slew of Buffalo Bills that were just wiping people out in the end zone. They were like Lincoln's newest snowplow named Plowy McPlowface. And they were just running over everybody in the end zone saying, get out. They forgot to grab Chris Godwin. But pass interference should still be a penalty on Hail Marys, Josh. I'm just saying. Pass interference is still a penalty.
It's often not.
It's often not because you have such a disaster going on in the end zone. But like we can't have dudes just clearing guys out. I know they got 4 dudes standing there on the goal line just waiting for the ball to come their way. But you can't like push the guy toward not where the ball is. Like that can't be a thing.
And I know, okay, once someone touches the ball,
then you can start shoving people. You can go mosh pit all day if you want to. But that didn't happen. Nobody touched it at all on that play. I say that, I'm not sitting here clamoring for a pass interference to be called on that play. If I was a Bucs fan, I probably would. Like we can't just wipe guys out at the end of the end zone. With that being said, the Bucs had a chance to catch it. And they didn't. So the Bills once again get off easy, Josh. I'm waiting. I'm biding my time.
They're like the Georgia of the NFL. Just it never looks great. They play with their food, but they win quite often.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's
without the titles and the
right. Without the titles, but I don't. It's not like they're that much more talented than everybody else. I'm just like, I look at them. I'm like, everybody thinks they're one thing because of who their quarterback is, and they have a pretty good defense, and they have a couple good wide receivers, and they're like, they've been in the AFC Championship. They're good enough, and yet they just keep on doing things where I'm like, yeah, but are they passing these semester quizzes that they have every single week? I don't know. I'm not sure that they are, but as Matt Rule would tell you, Matt Rule would hate this conversation because a win is a win. A win is a win. You don't apologize for winning. But I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the Bucs to eventually do something that people are like, whoa, what happened to the Bucs? And I'll sit here telling you this has been this way the entire time. Let's go back. Oh, by the way, we get an email here from Eric in Fremont.
Hi, Eric.
Mike Evans tackled the Buffalo Bill on that play. If you have to call, you got to call it both ways too. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like that's what it's become. It's not just me like rooting for the Bucs and rooting against the Bills. I don't know how this thing became me like rooting against the Bills, and that's not what I'm doing. But I am waiting for them to show up and lose one of these games. But yes, I mean that's the whole point. We throw a football into the end zone, and it can't be just a complete free for all with guys mosh pitting in the end zone while the ball's in the air. I guess that everybody's doing it, then they just say, all right, no penalties whatsoever. But anyway, we move on to the Omaha World Herald from last night. Some reporting done on the big national story that you guys are aware of involving a man named Connor. By the way, one of the worst weeks for people named Connor in a long time.
Oh yeah? What rivals this?
I don't know.
You would be the authority on this.
Now, forgive me for my ignorance here. I don't know. I haven't done my research on this.
Got to do your own
research. Is this the worst thing a Connor has ever done?
Oh.
There's got to be a murderer named Connor.
I'm sure someone named Connor has taken the life of another.
Okay. But like publicly this is the biggest story involving a Connor that I can remember.
I mean, Conor McGregor had a run of bad news.
That's true. That's true. But like, what's worse, him just generally being a Dean Blandino or Connor Stallions going around and paying all of his minions to go to college football games and record the sideline? I'm being a little bit facetious here, but it's you'll hear a lot of crime stories involving people named Connor.
Pretty safe name.
The Michigan football staffer at the center of the school's sign stealing scandal purchased tickets to at least 5 games in Nebraska's Memorial Stadium across the 2021 and 2022 seasons. Young Connor Stallions bought tickets to Nebraska's games against Michigan and Ohio State in 2021 and the Oklahoma, Minnesota, and Illinois games in 2022. The information was obtained in a records request by the World Herald yesterday. Now, I think this is sort of the key part here, and this is, this part's stopping. Obviously, you can make the joke right away. Thank you, Connor, for being a part of the greatest tradition in all of sports, which is the Nebraska's continuous sellout streak. Thank you.
Helped us out there. Thanks.
But once you get through that, an athletic department staffer originally sent the email on October 20th to Jamie Vaughn, Nebraska's director of compliance. That would suggest the information could have been run down by the school in cooperation with the NCAA's investigation into widespread sign stealing by Michigan's football program. ESPN previously reported 12 of 13 possible Big Ten schools have record of Stallions purchasing a ticket to at least one of their games in recent years. And of course, this proves that Nebraska was indeed one of them. In 2022, Stallions purchased a ticket to Nebraska's September 17th game against Oklahoma. The ticket was in Low West Stadium near the 40-yard line, which would have given the person in the seat a very good view of the Nebraska sideline, which people forget is in the east. But I know people don't want us to talk about which sideline Nebraska's on, but it's in the east. Weeks later, on November 12th, Michigan defeated Nebraska 34-3 at home. That was last year. People forget that. Stallions also purchased single tickets to Nebraska's October 29th game against Illinois, a game that Matt Rule was at for the very first time, seeing Nebraska for the very first time, wearing his mask. And actually, I don't know that he was actually at the game. He just came into town that day. But it was a beautiful day, I remember. And November 5th against Minnesota, Nebraska's opponents in 2 weeks immediately prior to the Michigan game. So there was some advanced scouting done on Nebraska. Both tickets were, again, low and near midfield in the West Stadium. However, neither of those tickets were scanned in those cases, meaning the tickets were not used on game day. They gave up on Nebraska.
I think we're good here. We don't need to.
That's exactly what happened.
We don't need to watch.
They're like, we're going to go check out Nebraska against Oklahoma. Okay, we've seen all we need to see. During the 2021 season, he purchased a pair of tickets in the East Stadium. Now, the East Stadium would give you a better view of the West sideline, including Nebraska's November 6th game against Ohio State. The game after Nebraska fired all of their offensive assistant coaches. And they were working with, and they still only lost by 9 points that day. Those tickets near the 40-yard line would have given users a clear view of the Buckeyes sideline. 3 weeks later, Michigan beat Ohio State by 2 touchdowns, paving the way for Michigan to win the Big Ten championship and go to the college football playoff. He also went to the October 9th game against Michigan. I'm sure you're wondering, why would the Michigan staffer go get tickets to a Nebraska game for the Michigan game?
I am wondering that, yes.
That is unclear.
Okay.
Those were used, though. Those were scanned on game
bump
day.
their own sellout streak up.
Well, it's really nice that they got to do, they got to go see. Maybe this was just a fun purchase.
Oh, for funsies.
Let's go to the Michigan game in 2021, the game where Adrian Martinez fumbled at the end and they had the crazy light show and that entire thing. Stallions has apparently not had any of his minions attend any of Nebraska's home games this season. Even leading up to Nebraska's game against Michigan this year, although the article notes that he could have seen him, he could have seen Nebraska. They could have seen Nebraska on the road if they wanted to. So there you go. I'm sure people were wondering, right, when the story broke. Oh, I wonder when he was at Nebraska. And this does open up the idea that everybody else on sports radio, including the other two shows, have had over the last 24 hours, I would implore people to show up in a Michigan shirt this weekend with binoculars and just like that's first of all, it's going to be a great Halloween costume.
Yeah, it's Halloween weekend. Do it.
It's a great Halloween costume anyway. Show up to the Memorial Stadium wearing a Michigan polo or Michigan jacket. It's going to be really cold. Like Michigan jacket, if you could find anything like that. Get your binoculars out, put some sunglasses on, boom. Now, the question is, would that Halloween costume be shown purposefully on the television broadcast?
Not purposefully.
No?
We're on BTN, right?
We are on FS1.
That's right.
This weekend. FS1.
Excuse me.
The old Helfrich crew.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Levering. We've gotten to know those guys a little bit.
I mean, that makes it more likely than if it was on BTN, but I would still say no, not purposefully. They'll be on camera. Someone will end up being on camera.
And so now the thing, and we mentioned it sort of briefly yesterday, the thing to sort of remember here is the NCAA is, even though the reports indicate that they are expediting this investigation on Michigan, and now the FBI is involved, like this entire thing, they're like expediting this thing and they're already under investigation for another thing. But the NCAA might feel as if Michigan is sort of taunting them a little bit, which they kind of are, right? They're kind of pulling the Kansas. Let's put Kansas basketball under investigation. Okay, great. Go ahead. We'll have everybody at our opening night have stripper poles. We'll throw money around everywhere. Like, okay. Like they're kind of like, what are you going to do about it, NCAA? The NCAA has shown a long history of inaction on situations like this. And of course, a very long history of not bringing down any punishment, dropping the hammer until years and years and years later, in which a lot of cases the coach is no longer there, and certainly the players that were involved in the situation and in this case may have benefited from it are no longer there. Not that they should receive any sort of punishment anyway, but any punishment that will happen for the rest of the season will have to come from the conference, from the Big Ten Conference, if there is any. Big Ten hasn't really spoken about this much, but my advice to Tony Petitti is the same as Walter White gave Hank Schrader right before he died, which is tread lightly, because this is a big moment for Tony Petitti. If you overstep, if you drop the hammer a little bit too hard, like basically whatever happens as far as the punishment is concerned, people are going to be triggered about this because there's already like two sides of it boiling. It is the Michigan, not necessarily the Michigan fan side, but I guess I would side on this one, which is like, this doesn't seem like that significant of a deal, but it is Michigan and they have this sort of era of like, I'm better than you and we're taunting and we're going to get away with this and all that stuff. And, but they would be punished sort of for that reason. And then there's also a whole bunch of people who are like, yeah, we'll give them the death penalty, keep them out of the playoff this year or something like that. And so when we have that wide of a gap in between the two thoughts and how people feel about this, there's going to be some conversation about it. So I would say to Tony Petitti, good luck. And maybe he just follows the line of the NCAA and there's inaction for the rest of the season. Do you think the Big Ten will comment on that? Do you think the Big Ten will induce any sort of punishment before the season's end? I mean, it's getting pretty tight here.
Before season's end? No.
As Matt Rule said yesterday, there's only 29 days left in the season.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yep. And for Michigan, that would be the case today, right? Because they play the day after. 29 days left in the regular season. And then you move on to the next phase of your season. Yeah, I would imagine that nothing happens. But, I mean, there is... I don't think anybody's been able to get there to the point where they can report and say, yeah, this definitely went up to Harbaugh and we have evidence of it. But that seems to be the indication in a lot of the reporting that we've seen so far. How could this not, right? How could Jim Harbaugh but know nothing about this, right? And I saw pictures, there's pictures of everything, right? Aiden Hutchinson decided to jump in and comment on this. And, he's with the Lions now, and he was at Michigan in 2021. And I'm not exactly sure what he said, but probably, towed the Michigan man line, which is like, hey, this is a witch hunt. What are you doing? And I've never had any sort of involvement with, I don't even know the guy. I don't even have a relationship with him. And then there's a picture of him and Connor Stallions in a selfie, just those two in the locker room after winning a Big Ten championship or winning a game of the 2021 season. Okay. Like everybody's been really careful about this, but there's no way it doesn't go to the top. So can they find proof of it in the next 3 to 4 weeks? And what happens to Michigan as a result of it? But we know that we saw some Michigan spies at Nebraska games in 2021 and 2022.
Couple things happened while you were running down that story. You asked if this is the worst week for someone named Connor ever. Many examples of it not being the worst thing a Connor has ever done.
Okay.
Coming into our show here.
Okay.
Lot of murderers named Connor.
Okay.
I don't know how deep we want to go, but Greg, 2 G's.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically 3 G's.
Mm-hmm.
In August 2023, poison specialist Connor Bowman, 30 years old, poisoned his pharmacist wife.
So it's not the worst week for Connors.
Not, I would guess not. No, this may be a high-profile Connor blunder, but not the worst.
Amazing Daniel says there was a mass shooter this year named Connor.
Yeah.
Dang it.
And in breaking Husker news.
What?
The truck is out.
Oh, where's the truck today, Josh?
Ainsworth. Wonder what the Nebraska equipment big rig could be doing in Ainsworth.
This is something that we're going to talk to Munson about in a minute. Like, I wonder how Grant Bricks feels about the truck. What do we know about Grant Bricks? Well, not much, but we know he's a pretty private guy. Do you think he liked the big rig sitting at the football stadium? I don't know. It was an interesting move by Nebraska. It was something that they don't, that usually doesn't happen, but it did. So we got a couple emails here. Chris M writes in on the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, Chris.
Michigan needs to be punished. Not for any cheating, but because they thought they needed any scouting to beat Nebraska over the last 3 years.
There are a lot of
I
people
don't think that's
saying
worth
that,
a punishment, Chris.
No.
I don't think that's worth a punishment. Now, if Connor Stallion says, this is from the email, they were only at Nebraska games to scout the opponent, then fine. But if they thought they needed additional help to beat Nebraska other than just having the team walk into the field, then they need to be punished mightily.
This has all the vibes of, hey, Barry Bonds didn't need to do HGH. He was a perfectly fine baseball player before that.
It kind of does. He would have been a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But he decided he wanted to hit 73 home runs. I get it.
He saw Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa getting all that pub, and he said, what about me?
Ross writes in.
Hi, Ross.
Doesn't matter if Harbaugh knew or not. This is lack of institutional control.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess that'd be the case. Well, I just think that Harbaugh did know. Right. So like, it's hard for me to go down that road. Like, does it matter or does it like, well, we're going to have this answered that somebody's going to uncover that Harbaugh knew about it.
They're going to tell you he didn't have a clue though.
Yeah. Michigan will.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan will. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh will continue to. Jeff writes in on the text line. The more that comes out, it seems inevitable Harbaugh is going to the pros next season, right? I've thought that all along. This season, all the way, even from the start, had the vibe to me of this is a bleep you season. He always sort of holds grudges, right? So, remember when they docked his pay and shortened up his contract and cut down his buyout a couple years ago. And then they started getting really, really good. And they went to the college football playoff, and that was sort of a bleep you season. Interviewed for job. He's never been shy about interviewing for jobs, but like it has all of the makings to me because it's Harbaugh of a guy who will win. And I think he wants to win at the highest level just so he can dig the knife in even further.
Yep.
Doesn't he seem like that guy to you?
Hey, everybody, that felt great, didn't it? It felt great. It felt great to win that national championship. All right, I'm out of here.
Yeah, that way when he leaves, he could say the thing that everybody wants to say. Don't you miss me?
Don't you miss me?
Miss me now? Yeah. This season has always had that vibe to me for them. And I know there's more people writing about it, and they're like, is this Michigan's last dance? It really feels like it to me. Which is, makes the conversation even more intriguing for the next few weeks here. All right, quick break. We'll come back. A couple more things. Maybe we'll get to some Matt Rule audio from yesterday. We got Munson at the top of the hour. Happy Friday. Still plenty more to come on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em returns. It's your chance to win $1,620. All you have to do is correctly pick 4 college or NFL games against the spread. Listen to qualify every weekday or enter online at 1620thezone.com. One lucky listener will be selected each week to make their picks live on air.
Awesome.
Go to 1620thezone.com for complete rules and contest details. It's 4-quarter pick'em with 1620 The Zone.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Well, hello there, my pretties. Want to make a happy Halloween even happier? Then check out the low prices during the Halloween sale at 42 Degrees. Be the cool ghoul and get great products like disposables and e-juice up to 50% off. Get super scary savings on Delta starting at just $4.99 with the frighteningly friendly, nightmarishly knowledgeable, and paranormally professional staff. The Halloween sale by your mom's haunted house. Restrictions apply. Products may contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Vallis Pumpkin Patch and Apple Orchard has something fun for all ages. Come take a ride on the antique cars, where the kids are the drivers. Visit our foam ball play area called the Egg Scramble. Stop by the cider mill area where you can have a drink of refreshing apple cider and taste some deliciously good barbecue at Ethan's Applewood Smokehouse. Vallis has more than 50 other attractions included with admission, along with fireworks every Friday night at 9. Vallis, the place to visit this fall.
If you love food, love fun, love fall, you'll love Alice Pumpkin Patch best of all.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up AutoSafe in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools. One bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
AutoSave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
I mean, Chuck E. Cheese is rough. I don't know if you've been there in a while. They look like they're trying to go to business and they can't.
All new material.
They filed for bankruptcy and they're still open. They called Blockbuster and they're like, how do you get out? We want out.
Nate Bargatze.
Friday, February 9th, CHI Health Center. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. Produced by Outback Presents. Don't miss Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
I'm Omaha Athletic Director Adrian Dow, and I want to introduce you to 3 Omaha schools that are playing a vital role in keeping our community strong. We serve nearly 600 pre-K through 8th grade students, most of whom come from disadvantaged neighborhoods. These students receive a values-based education with the family support they need. I'm a proud member of the Q's Fund Board, which supports the Q's school system. To learn more, go to Q's Schools, that's CUES schools.org.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
By the way, happy Taylor Swift album re-release day to all who celebrate.
Thank you, Connor. I appreciate that. Big day for us.
Have you listened to 1989 Taylor's version yet?
I have.
Really? All the way through?
Not all the way through.
Did you check out the vault tracks?
A couple of them, yeah. Quite a few, actually.
I saw that there was one with a spicy title.
Slut.
Yeah. That's right.
Also, Taylor Swift announced today that she is a billionaire.
She announced it?
Odd that she announced it and not like Forbes or somebody like that.
What do you mean she announced it? She did a tweet and she's like, "Hey, great news. I'm a billionaire."
Hey, just wanted everyone to know I'm a billionaire.
What's the best way to tell somebody you're a billionaire?
Oh, great question.
You have a party at your house? You have like a billionaire party? That's well, congratulations to her. I mean, just you really love to see it. And I'm glad she's getting her moment in the spotlight. You know, we don't really talk about Taylor Swift much these days, and it was great to see that small band of Swifties just really be excited last night about her album re-release. Very exciting.
Yeah, I heard there were some problems with Apple Music right at midnight or 11 o'clock our time, I guess.
Yeah, so I guess like Spotify wasn't playing it right away, but it was only like 11:02, and people were having a huge panic attack about it.
Then you're 2 minutes behind the social discourse online, and you're just I don't know if you'll ever catch up.
I think it eventually played. It eventually worked.
One of the songs seems to be about Harry Styles.
Oh, did they date?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Out of the Woods, the
power couple.
The song "Out of the Woods" from that album is about Harry Styles, and one of the vault tracks appears.
Give me one that I would know that's off that album.
"Shake It Off."
Oh, the "Shake It Off" album.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
"Bad Blood" with Kendrick Lamar.
Oh yeah, I know about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that seems recent.
Yeah.
When was that originally released?
I would say 16. Off the top of my head.
People, the Swifties are probably like, "What the hell are you guys talking about?" Come on, it was 2000.
It was 14.
It was 2014.
Different time.
The Royals were just about to go to their first World Series in 29 years, and Taylor Swift released her album called 1989. It's back out again today with some bonus tracks, of course. All right, we get to some Matt Rule audio here in just a minute, but you know what? It's Friday. I want to hear people's thoughts on the game. We'll get Rule's thoughts on it too, and of course ours. But let's go to the phones. 42 Degrees Source Hotline. It's about that time to hear from Triggered Bob. Triggered Bob, you back to being triggered?
As much as I like the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce situationship or whatever they want to call it, this triggered me about her being a billionaire.
You're triggered about Taylor Swift being a billionaire?
Yeah, it's basically like accounting. So since 2019, $400 million she's earned from music, another 400 from ticket sales and merchandise, and then another 120 from Spotify and YouTube, 110 from current value of 5 personal properties. So I guess she could say she's earned $1 billion since 2019, but like she doesn't have $1 billion in the Wells Fargo account. You know what I mean?
Okay.
No, she's worth it. Her net worth is $1 billion.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it means to be a billionaire, right? Like like if you're do it on a smaller scale. Like you can call yourself a millionaire when your assets are worth $1 million, not necessarily when you have $1 million of liquid money to spend.
Yeah, true. It's just funny when I hear these celebrities making so much money, and they're like, "Well, it's really not that much because after taxes, it's only $600 million or whatever."
Yeah, that's what I would definitely say if I won the $1 billion lottery. It's like, yeah, well, it's only $600 million. It's not that much. Well, Bob, I hope you I hope you can come to grips with this. I know it's a big deal.
Yeah, I'll leave you with this. Just a question. What do you think about Caleb Benning committing?
Oh,
Thanks,
okay.
Bob.
I like that. We haven't. Wow, we haven't talked about that at all. I apologize.
Real quick, I want to say one thing about Taylor Swift, and then we'll
Okay.
be off of it.
You do it.
Another lie told by Taylor Swift. Go ahead, Caleb Benning.
Why do you think? What? You can't just say that and dismount and get out of the conversation.
Oh no, I'm a billionaire, but you don't have $1 billion.
No, she's got $1 billion.
Dating Travis Kelce, but you're not actually dating Travis.
She's
Kelce.
worth $1 billion. She is a billionaire. Like if somebody found out, I don't even know what's the right way to calculate your net worth.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Like, am I worth whatever's in my bank account, or am I worth a combination of what's in my bank account and the things that I own and could potentially sell?
Yeah, if you
like
were
a
to,
house.
Yeah, liquidate your assets. What would it?
I would like to
amount
personally go by the combination of all the things.
Yes, please.
Because if it's my bank account, then I'm worth about $47. And that's not a very good net worth.
Today was payday.
That's not what you want. All right.
Caleb Benning.
So we didn't talk about Caleb.
No.
But I have made my thoughts very clear on him for a long time. And I'll make a comparison. So he is and we'll talk to Munson about it too. Like he is the true definition of like a football player, right? I don't think that there's anything, and I don't say this to be like, well, he's not athletic, because he certainly is. Like you have to have this sort of base level. And he can do a little more too. Like he's a playmaker, but he's a playmaker like in the football sense. He completely understands where he's supposed to be, what he's supposed to do. He's a great team player. Did you see him hand off the ball to his teammate to score a touchdown?
I did.
Right? Like
benevolent Benning.
He totally like understands all of that stuff. And those are the kind of high school football players that I love. Like a lot of the times we look at somebody who maybe is like a 3-star or something like that at the high school level, and they have all this production, and you're looking at them and you're like, well, why aren't they getting really, big time recruited? They have all these numbers, and maybe the measurables don't quite, match what you would want them to be. And that's what gets you your 4th star. And that's what gets you your 5th star. But I like guys like this. And the comparison that I would make, and I was the guy standing on the table for this guy because I watched him all throughout high school. And now, what do you know? He's making plays with an N on his helmet. Isaac Gifford. I mean, like, I watched him. He started playing, I think, in his sophomore year a little bit at Southeast, and he just kept on getting better and better and better every single year, and he was making plays all over the place. And I watched that guy, and I'm like, hey, that's a football player. What's going on here? Why is Nebraska not recruiting him? And obviously, Caleb has been recruited for a long time, and he's a more highly sought after recruit from that conversation. But like Isaac got the offer late, and I'm sitting there like, finally, I can guarantee you this guy's going to be a player. I can guarantee you this guy's going to be a player. And it's for very similar reasons why I think I can guarantee you that Caleb Benning is going to be a player. Like he's going to be a guy that is productive at Nebraska. It's a lock. Like, I love guys like that. Like, and yes, you need stuff in your you need guys in your class who can, who are quote unquote dudes, and like, once again, don't get me wrong, like he's a dude, but like, and are these 5-star, 4-star type of athlete guys, and they're just different than everybody else. Like you need those guys to help put you over the top as well. But like, sign me up for guaranteed production. Sign me up for guaranteed production. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it with Caleb Benning. Like I've been a fan for a very, very long time.
I feel like on more than one occasion he has uttered the phrase, "Can't I just play football? Why do I have to deal with all this other stuff around the game? Just let me play football."
Definitely.
Like, it doesn't seem to be bothered or enjoy kind of the other things that come with it.
I love guys like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, gigantic fan and a big pickup for Nebraska. There's no doubt about it. I sort of apologize for not really talking about it much this week. It was the last Friday kind of news dump type of thing. But there's no doubt it's a big deal for Nebraska and a big deal for him and of course his family as well. A listener of the show is his dad.
I thought Damon was his dad.
Yes.
Damon listens to this show?
I don't know. I hope so.
Wow.
Occasionally from time to time.
Nothing but illustrious guests.
From the text line, Jeff writes in.
Hi, Jeff.
Only Happer would be able to work in a 2014 Royals memory talking about Taylor Swift. Well, I just think about what I was doing in 2014, and that was it. That's the story. Nothing else comes to my mind when I think about 2014 other than that. It's the only thing.
You said that, and I didn't bat an eye at it. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
All right, we're back with Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. We will talk a little bit more about Caleb and the big news for Nebraska in recruiting last night, where Kawan Lacey is decommitted. And there's actually plenty to cover in those grounds this week, including some visitors for the weekend. How will they like Chili Lincoln? Will they get the chili and cinnamon rolls? Munson joins next on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show. Follow us on Twitter @Happer Show for all the latest news and views. We may even say something interesting once in a while.
Unlikely.
Really, guys? Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
If you haven't updated your windows, you could be throwing money out the window. Don't let the cool air out. Upgrade today with J-Tech Construction. For a limited time, get 60 months with 0% interest. Plus, as an added bonus, every window gets a special rated UV upgrade for free. Save money, keep the cool air in, and be happier when you upgrade your windows with the official exterior experts of Nebraska Athletics. For more info, go to yourexteriorexperts.com. Subject to credit approval.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Hanley@1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Put your coffee department in good hands with Host Coffee Service, providing direct delivery and loaned coffee equipment with service programs. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Hi, this is Kathy Knoyer. 'Tis the season at Glass House Market within Knoyer Garden Center. We'd like to invite you to come shop our stunning holiday market, where you'll find a perfect gift for that special someone or the Christmas decor you've been wanting. Join our family for this year's open house, November 4th and 5th, to help us celebrate the holiday season. Glass House Market, located within Knoyer Garden Center on 66th Street between Cornhusker and Highway 370 in Papillion. Open daily 10 to 6.
At Knoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Doing good feels good. At shareomaha.org, find hundreds of ways to give your volunteer time from Blair to Springfield, Wahoo to the riverfront. Get connected to nonprofits that matter to you. Find your fit now at shareomaha.org.
It's Halloween at Genesis Health Clubs. Join with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every month. This offer ends in just 4 days. Genesis Health Clubs has top-of-the-line equipment and the absolute best personal trainers, tennis professionals, and group fitness instructors to help keep you motivated and headed towards your fitness goals. Plus, relax in luxury afterwards with saunas, steam rooms, and fluffy towel service. Whatever your fitness needs, Genesis is here to help every step of the way, and there's nothing scary about that. This Halloween, join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month. Just 4 days left. But hurry, this offer will end before you have a chance to count your Halloween candy. It ends on Halloween and won't extend. Come to Genesis and get in the best shape of your life so you can handle anything those zombies, werewolves, and vampires throw at you. Plus, get your New Year's resolutions checked off with time to spare. Join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month. It ends on Halloween and won't extend.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
Come out!
Bryan Munson.
Hey, long call. Comfy left Zoom Buster. 63 Bang Z Maui. Alert. Paradise Z Burger Y Wrap on one.
Husker Online on the Connor Happer Show. On 1620, The Zone.
That's right. We're joined on the 42 Degrees Source Hotline by Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. Munson, hello. Happy Friday. How are you?
Happy Friday, game week, buddy. This is a good one. This is a good game for Nebraska this weekend.
What were your thoughts, by the way, as the ball was floating through the air on the Hail Mary last night?
You had to go there.
Yeah.
I was thinking how fortunate Tampa Bay was that the ball bounced off of the defender's head into the receiver's arm for the touchdown, and then Poyer deflected the ball up to allow Tampa Bay to convert the 2-point conversion to even get them there.
Hilarious.
And then it falls literally. If Godwin turns around half a second before that, dude, he catches that.
I know. It would have been the most anticlimactic. It would have been the most anticlimactic Hail Mary that I've ever seen.
I agree with you completely. It was like it was almost like it was like a bad act, like a bad play. Like we're supposed to be down here acting like we're supposed to be doing something and preventing them from doing something else.
Yeah.
And then they were just getting to their places when somebody had already said action, and the ball was like coming down. I mean, it was just
it's a great comparison, actually.
It was just like, oh, the timing was bad on that, guys. Okay, let's do it over again. Like oh my gosh, I did not need that before going to bed. Just trust me on that. That my pulse was racing. I was like, this game, between that and not scoring on the second drive, ending it at the 1 yard line. There were so many points that were left on that field or given up to them, and the penalties to keep the drive alive on that time. Oh my goodness, I had it by the end of the
night. Yeah, I think that makes sense because I was sitting there at the end like, what? How did the Bucs have a chance to win this game? But you got out of there with the win, and that's all that matters. Okay, let's get to the
Buffalo can't win the next list of games with Philly and Dallas and Cincinnati with the way that they played in the second half.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
They got a lot of things they got to do.
No doubt. Okay, the big recruiting news over the last 24 hours is the decommitment of Kawan Lacey. We talked about it last week, and I know in our conversations we were both really excited about that addition to Nebraska's class, and sort of as he had begun to kind of be receptive to other schools, it kind of felt like maybe it was trending that way. I'll just ask you this: how big of a loss is it for Nebraska?
It's significant. I mean, the way I put it last week, I said if you had told me these are the top 5 running backs in the country, I would have argued Lacey wasn't worse than 4 or 5. I have seen Nate Frazier. I believe Nathaniel Frazier from Mater Dei is the best running back in the country this year. He visited Nebraska, obviously, for the spring game. And I don't know if there was anybody really that close after that. I had him in kind of a class of his own, but Lacey then is kind of in that next tier of running backs, right? And so it's a significant loss because he was going to impact Nebraska's offense as a running back, as a receiver, and as a returner. The Nebraska staff was basically telling him, we want your thumbprint everywhere. And we believe that you can come in here and benefit us by doing all of these things. And it was exactly what Kawan is kind of looking for. So as you kind of look now down the road and you go, well, what can Nebraska do to kind of offset the loss? And honestly, it's not a really clear, great answer. I kind of outlined this morning in Tunnel Talk, but it's kind of unfortunate because the timing of what happened with Lacey was he took an official visit and he committed to Nebraska in June. ahead of Nebraska bringing in Derek McFall. That's one of the top athletes in the country. He's from Tyler, Texas, which is just a little bit further down the road for me going the opposite way as it is for me to go to Lancaster to go to see Quan Lacey. So McFall ended up not taking a visit to Nebraska, tripped to UCLA, and committed to UCLA. After that, it's really like a big bag of, we don't know what's really in it. I mean, I brought up Titus Cram. The previous staff had offered him. I don't think he has the kind of speed that Matt Rule is looking for at that position. He really kind of reminds me of Arnold Barnes, who was committed to the previous staff from New Orleans, a year ago. You're kind of nifty, but not straight line speed guy. And then you get like Micah Kaapana, who is the Michigan commitment from Bishop Gorman. The only reason why I kind of mentioned him is because there's 5 guys from Bishop Gorman coming in this weekend. So, and you have what's going on at Michigan, obviously. I think that all the stuff that's happening there, it's hard not to call this a major, major issue. And I don't care how much Harbaugh wants to say didn't know about this or whatever. We're starting to talk about so many different games, thousands and thousands of dollars spent. I have to think that there's going to be some fallout based on some punishment. Don't know if it gets caught up to it this year, but maybe a guy like Kaapana decides that's not, what he wants to deal with, and maybe he gives Nebraska another look. He was going to visit Nebraska prior to visiting Michigan and Michigan squeezing him and basically then canceled the visit. So I'm going to be very, very interested to see what Nebraska does here at the running back position, to see what they do. Do they reach into the portal even now? Is that more of a desirable option? Because I think it's tough. You're looking for a guy that can be productive in year one as soon as he steps on campus.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Nebraska's. It felt like, just as you look at their class right now and what they have, like they kind of put all the eggs in that basket, and for good reason. Like, he's a good player, like you said. You get other players that you were recruiting along the way earlier in the process, and they ultimately didn't make the visit. And now you're like, man, what do we do? We have to reset the deck, and it's almost November, and it's just really difficult to sort of build those relationships. Like, is the best option or the most likely option that Nebraska either goes junior college or transfer portal at running back right now? Because as much as we talk about the quarterback situation and what might happen next year, like, running back is even more of a question at this point.
I totally agree with that thought too. So, I think portal and JUCO obviously are 2 very good options for Nebraska. I think the big thing to remember here is that the player that you have to basically replace the loss of Lacey with has to be somebody that you can count on to play next year. There's no doubt about it. You need a difference maker on the roster, as part of this class immediately, preferably in that January timeline, even though Quan wasn't going to be there in that January timeline. So I'm very, very interested to see what they kind of do. You can kind of go down the list, I think, a little bit, maybe find some guys where you're talking about, potential coaching changes, the head coach leaves, you pick up some interest. There's going to be obviously some fallout from that too when it comes to portal guys that have been, on a team for only a year and they want to jump out now and bail out and go look for something else. I think over the next month, that picture is going to really become very clear. I think between now and the Iowa game, there's going to be, a couple 3 names I think Nebraska is going to be very much in on to try to figure out how they can kind of get them in for an official visit, particularly with that December signing date coming up, a few weeks after that.
Okay, so we had to push back our every week topic this week because there was bigger news. What did you think about Nebraska parking the giant truck in front of Grant Brix's football field? And I want to actually approach it from this angle because I sort of wondered about it this week. From what we know about Brix, do we think that he enjoyed the fact that the Husker semi truck was outside of his school?
I think he had to at least understand that was a show of support by Nebraska, towards him. I only get like conversations with him, every so often. Every couple of weeks, I can kind of just feel that the name Grant Brix is going to show up on my phone and he's going to call me. And I could probably tell you that this will be one of the huge topics that he and I will talk about here over the next week when he calls me back again, and just to figure out like where he was at. But I imagine, number one, he appreciated that. I think that that's kind of one of those reminders without, the phone ringing or being very intrusive, which I think are like the big parts of like why he doesn't like recruiting or being on the phone that much. If you parked a truck out there, it's just kind of this monolithic thing that you just see when you turn around and you're out there during practice. It's just a reminder as opposed to phones ringing. Oh, I haven't called that guy back in a week. He's going to be upset.
Right.
Or they're probably going to want to know about that. I don't want to talk about this. I think it's one of those more just a reminder aspect of it. And then of course the truck this morning showed up in Ainsworth.
That's right.
So now it's up there with Carter Nelson, and I think that that's pretty huge because I don't think I mentioned in Tunnel Talk this morning. I think Nebraska fans can breathe a sigh of relief. I think he's very much in the class and in the boat. I think he's looking forward to his time as being a Cornhusker. I don't think that matters much to the other teams that are going to continue to recruit him, and it goes beyond Notre Dame. I think you're still talking at least about one SEC school that is still very interested in trying to figure out, what they can do to potentially re-enter things with Carter Nelson. But I think Nebraska is going to do their best to get Brix in, and I think Nelson is going to remain in. And I think that there's obviously a little bit of a backup plan potentially this weekend for Grant Brix if he decides to go to K-State or Oklahoma over Nebraska.
It's subtle, but it's also not at the same time. It's
right.
It's funny. You just look out the window. It's like, oh, there's a giant truck out there.
That's a great way of putting it. Like I said, though, I think he appreciates it because it's not like it had like the blinking lights. It didn't look like Times Square. It was just this reminder. We're here. This is our show of support for you. And he obviously has things very much locked down. I figured by now that we would have heard about him sneaking down to Norman or Manhattan or Lincoln. I still haven't heard anything along those lines that he is, taking a trip at all. I think literally like he's done with that portion of the process. It's just getting to this decision.
Your thoughts on Nebraska? Well, we didn't talk about it last Friday because that hadn't happened yet. But Caleb Benning committed to the class last Friday night, and as we got a question about it just a little bit ago, and I sort of wondered out loud, like, man, I guess we haven't really talked about that all that much this week. And it's a big deal for Nebraska, in my opinion, because I think very highly of him as a football player. Like your thoughts on him entering the class?
Well, I think it's appropriate. I mean, I think he is a great football player. I think he replaces, or at least, it kind of coincides with the decommitment of another very good football player in Callan Barta, who decommitted over the weekend and is committed to Kansas State. So I think you have one defensive back out, one defensive back in. Both of those guys, however, are, I'd say athletically or better football players than just that one position that they kind of get flagged with, as far as the title. Because Barta was having a heck of a season on the offensive side of the football. When you put up betting stats include defense, offense, special teams. And then I think that there are just some things like, from a leadership perspective, that you have to take into consideration when it comes to Westside, the type of season that they're having. I mean, he is absolutely critical, to the success that Westside is having this year. That is hard to overlook. That is one of the better Class A football teams. I think that you would probably even say this too.
Yep.
That I think has come through in quite a while. They are great on both sides of the football. And I think the other thing is this. I think it's very, very interesting with Benning jumping in. You got Christian Jones, 2025 guy. He is going to be a real challenge for Nebraska to keep home. But now you've got another guy from Westside staying home. You've got Rezak there that at the quarterback position that potentially is still another PWO, maybe quarterback, maybe athlete guy that maybe Nebraska still tries to find a way to get in with. But, Benning has spent plenty of time, in Lincoln on several visit occasions when, like a guy like Carter Nelson's there. You're building another reason or another thing of cohesiveness there among all the in-state players in that class. So I think that that's another thing that's going to get overlooked by several people, but it's not getting missed on me. But I think the biggest thing about Benning is athlete, great football player, remove all the position tags. And obviously he has just this kind of difference maker kind of thing. And that's what's really helping out Westside this year, because he's a guy like that's on the football team.
Munson, before we let you go, visitors for this weekend, what are we watching out for?
Well, I think the big guy that you would want to go ahead and take a look for is Xander Rugaroli. He is a 6'8", 270-pound offensive tackle from Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas. I think that this is a little bit of a backup plan for Bricks, but honestly, I think Nebraska needs to be thinking about taking both guys, because you got Talmua that is out there in Hawaii that won't play at all this season, coming back from an ACL injury. Who knows where he's at physically and mentally when he gets to Nebraska. You do have an official visitor coming to town, Larry Tarver, a cornerback that Nebraska offered during their bye week. He is a Maryland commitment. He's got some really good highlights and really good highlight clips up on Twitter. So go find Larry Tarver stuff. There's 4 other guys along with Xander from Bishop Gorman that'll be there this weekend. I'm going to be in the process of pulling together a visitor preview. Probably will have it up late this afternoon with more names about what's going on this weekend.
Excellent. All right, Munson, we'll let you go. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, buddy. Take care.
Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. Can't get over the big truck thing. Somebody said on the YouTube, Walter, that's a lot of money for diesel fuel, especially since those big rigs typically get 6.5 miles to the gallon.
I would like to bring up a potential downside to the
big truck gate.
Now you're going to have a lot of kids saying,
"Where's the truck for me?
Am I not big truck worthy? Maybe I play coy and don't let you think that I want to come there. Thus, so you bring the big truck to my school."
Maybe Nebraska will have to make the investment and buy multiple big trucks.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
maybe buy a big truck for every state. Nebraska could just be the big truck school, the semi-truck school.
Poll question: should Nebraska be the semi-truck school?
Sure. Throw it out there. It's the school that parks their truck on things to like because it came off to me as like Nebraska's sort of like marking their territory, because you put it there with an undecided guy, and it's yes, a show of support, but it's also like, yeah, just remember us, that kind of thing. And it also kind of comes off the same way with Nelson when he, because he's coming off that visit to Notre Dame a couple weeks ago. People are a little like about his recruitment.
Can I ask some logistical questions that I don't think anyone knows about the big truck?
Go ahead, Josh.
How does it work when the big truck gets to the school? Does the driver sit there and just wait to be noticed? Is it arranged ahead of time? Like, hey, we're going to be parking this big truck outside your school today. It's probably going to get the kids all riled up, but we just wanted you to know that
I would hope that there'd be some correspondence with the school.
Yeah. Do they honk the horn so everyone notices right away?
Only if you're asked. Only if somebody's in the window going like this. Honk, honk.
Group of high schoolers, you think anyone's going to pull the imaginary horn?
I'd do it. I'm more than 30 years old.
Yeah, still do it.
Honk, honk every single time.
Although I've noticed now that I often have a child in the back seat of my car, they honk the horn for real for me a little bit more than they used to. Little pro tip for you, Connor. You want them to honk that horn for real? Get yourself a child.
They didn't honk the horn when it was just you?
Not every time,
Okay.
My hitting percentage wasn't great.
So, like, do kids instinctively know that when you do this, it works? Because, like, I don't know if anybody ever taught me that. It was just like something that I started doing when I saw trucks.
That's a good question.
I think that's like just a young child's instinct. For some reason.
I mean, you probably see it work one time and you go, "Oh."
Because how would they know that in order to honk the horn on the big rig trucks that you have to pull that wire? How would they know that?
I don't know.
They wouldn't know that.
No.
Not sure. Yeah, Carrie says the truck is in Ainsworth. Big game tonight. Playoffs. It's playoffs. Fred Hoiberg is talking.
Sure is.
To the basketball media. They have an exhibition on Sunday evening. he said Rink Mast won't play in the exhibition game, and he also didn't play in the secret scrimmage either against Utah last week. Because he was a victim of a random act of violence last week.
What?
Authorities are investigating it now. Yes. I was told that he was on his way back from a concert and basically was jumped.
Huh.
Not great.
Not great at all.
So I think he has an ankle injury out of that, and hopefully it's not too serious. But like, man, how unfortunate. One of Nebraska's best players, when they're going to rely on him a lot, and hopefully he's not out long, right? But like, he's got to miss the end of preseason practice in the first exhibition, and who knows how many games because he got, he was assaulted basically in public
in Crime Town.
That's exactly right.
Interesting. Maybe it's not just a stupid little nickname that we gave Lincoln. Maybe it's real.
We are back with more. We'll hear from Matt Rule yesterday as they get ready for Purdue tomorrow at Memorial Stadium. Next on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Oh, you don't like my old-timey voice?
I always forget you have one, Nick. You don't need to take it personally.
No, it's
do your old-timey voice, Nick.
Hi.
Wow. Great work, Nick.
You put me on the spot.
Yeah? Well, you're the one who was like, why don't you let me do my old man voice? And then you said, hey.
I've got a Richard Nixon impersonation. Oh, can I hear it? Hi.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
A blustery start to the afternoon, a little breezy. We'll see those clouds clear out and hit a high eventually of about 42 degrees. Mostly clear overnight, waking up tomorrow morning to a temperature in the upper 20s. An afternoon chance of a wintry mix rolling through and then hitting a high temperature tomorrow around 38 degrees. I'm meteorologist Luke Vickery, KETV Newswatch 7.
The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JP Chase Bank, any member FDIC.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
I mean, Chuck E. Cheese is rough. I don't know if you've been there in a while. They look like they're trying to go to business and they can't.
All new material.
They filed for bankruptcy and they're still open. They called Blockbuster and they're like, how do you get out? We want out.
Nate Bargatze, Friday, February 9th, CHI Health Center. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. Produced by Outback Presents. Don't miss Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees. The Source, by your mom's house.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Breast cancer is among the most common types of cancers in the United States and accounts for 1 of 3 new female cancers every year. Get familiar with your own breasts with self-exams, and if something doesn't feel right, get it checked out. Find out more at cancer.org.
I'm Omaha Athletic Director Adrian Dow, and I want to introduce you to 3 Omaha schools that are playing a vital role in keeping our community strong. We serve nearly 600 pre-K through 8th grade students, most of whom come from disadvantaged neighborhoods. These students receive a values-based education with the family support they need. I'm a proud member of the Q's Fund Board, which supports the Q's school system. To learn more, go to Q's Schools, that's CUES schools.org.
Just another day in Crime Town. The combination of Crime Town and Nebraska basketball is almost too, like, it has too much bad juju to really even, measure.
They were going to meet up with each other at some point.
Yeah. Hashtag Nebraska ball. One of your best players basically got assaulted on a scooter from his on like 2 weeks before the season starts.
That is a super Nebraska ball story.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Once again, I hope it's not a super serious deal for him that they can make it back soon. I mean, volleyball, I guess to go against the point of these bad luck entities, like Nebraska volleyball is not a bad luck entity, but they had a player get in a car accident this year. So that's not good. So Cramtown never stops, man. You gotta be careful out there. You gotta somehow keep everybody contained on campus. And just keep everybody in their rooms, go to practice, go to the training table,
put them in a bubble,
call good for the day, I suppose, because you never know. Once you step out that door in Crime Town, anything could happen.
Put Heine in a bubble.
Put everybody in Nebraska's offense in a bubble because they can't afford to lose anybody else at this point.
True. Oh, you play the O-line? Here's a bubble.
Speaking of Nebraska football, Matt Rule yesterday got a few things from him. Yeah, Matt Rule. By the way, will there be any Matt Rule Halloween costumes? What would be a Matt Rule Halloween costume?
A hoodie and a headset, a short sleeve hoodie and a headset, I guess.
Holding a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you probably want to go for the game day look, right? So headset, and he's usually more of a khaki pants guy on game day.
Yeah.
So khaki pants and maybe either a polo or one of those like windbreaker jackets, like quarter zip windbreaker jackets that they have.
Gotta lick your lips a lot.
Get one of those weird sweatshirts that says OU on it in the weird font, and it's not like even level on there. You can do that.
Really bothers me.
Not as popular as the bow Halloween costume.
Right.
Everybody was bow those couple of years
because it was so comfortable.
You just had to wear a hoodie and a headset. I guess it's theoretically the same for Matt Rule too. I don't know if too many people are dressed up as Mike Riley, and I guess there was some Scott Frost out there, and you could do that too because there was always the definitive. I got to throw in the gigantic chew. So I assume that there was a bunch of people who did that over the years as well. So we'll see. It'll be the first Halloween with Matt Rule at the helm. All right, let's get to the audio from yesterday. As we mentioned before, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on sort of the offensive line and those young guys sort of preparing for the week, excuse me, and stuff like that. He was asked yesterday about winning when you're not at your best, and as often happens, like he gets asked these kind of generic questions, and he not only takes it whichever way he wants, but he sort of like changes the premise of the question a little bit as well. But I thought this is pretty good stuff. It's sort of long, I suppose, but here's Matt Rule yesterday as Nebraska prepares for Purdue.
Well, I thought the defense was at their best, so I'm always very careful of like saying those superlatives, right? Like you paint pictures, right? Like to me, the thing that I want them to understand, because, like we played dominant in some areas on defense, but we gave up 130 yards rushing. That's unacceptable. We didn't have a fourth quarter shutout. That's unacceptable. We didn't win the turnover battle. It's unacceptable. So it's like, I don't try to think like good and bad. I think about like, hey, what was up to our standard? What was not? And even on offense, like, it's like, oh, the offense kept putting the ball. It wasn't good enough. There were 4 plays like that. There was a lot of other plays that were good plays. And so I've got to get rid of those 4 plays, but I also want to build off of the run Emma Johnson made or the catch Malachi made. So the danger, and it goes back to Bill Parcells, used to talk about the psychology of results. And there's really 4 things, to it. But one of them is like, when you don't play at the level you want to play at, when you don't play well and win, sometimes you start to think, hey, I can win. And that's why you hear me say, I don't care about the score all the time. Obviously I want to win, but I care about how we play. There's a standard, right? Like, Ron tells a story about Nebraska beating UCLA and him being happy in the locker room and all the veteran coaches on this staff being irate because they had 5 turnovers and they just didn't play to the standard, even though they beat number 2 UCLA. That's obviously a high-end example of that. But I want all the players to understand that, when we win the game, we feel happy, right? It's an emotional feeling, but we just come in very methodically. Like, what did we do well? What did we not do well? We don't listen to, oh, we stink. But we also don't listen to, oh, we're great. We just stay like right here, and so, I'm not helping it by letting them put out that TV show every week, right? That's not really my type of deal to do. You'll never see me do it again, probably after this year, but we're trying to let recruits and people see inside the program and all that. But it's just got to be like very like just day by day, just 1% better. But if you're not careful, when you don't play well and you win the game or you don't play up to your standard, you'll start feeling like you have a right to do that. And it's deadly. So we're fighting that. And I'm proud of the players because they're the first ones to say it's not good enough. No fourth quarter shutouts. We've only done it once this year. We're -8 and we're 4-3. That's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. And you know what? You say, those first week, we were -6 at the first. That means we're -2 in the last. So like, we got to get it corrected. And that's both sides. Like, take the ball away. We won the turnover battle in 1 game, La Tech. We tied it in Northern Illinois. Like, fourth quarter shutout, we scored 52 points in the fourth quarter. We've given up 51. So there's a lot of room for improvement.
Okay, so a lot in there yesterday.
What was your favorite part?
I was going to go to.
So I got a favorite
part. You tell me your favorite part first.
My favorite part was right at the beginning. We didn't shut them out in the fourth quarter. That's a loss to me. We didn't win the turnover battle. That's a loss to me.
Yep.
They ran for 130 yards. That's not a big number, but that's a loss to him.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Oh, Josh.
Love that.
Josh, let's go. Football Josh.
Oh.
Josh would be sitting there listening to the locker room speech. If we die, we die. And Josh like, yeah. You're damn right.
Hit me with one.
If we die, we die.
Oh, sexy.
I like that, and we've talked about this sort of nonstop over the last few weeks now, but the dialed in focus on Nebraska's like mental state and where they're at as a football team. And I really like the line, and he was talking about, something that Bill Parcells said, which is, and I think I got this right. If you don't play well and you win, all of a sudden you think you can win. And that works in both ways, right? Because I think he's trying to teach Nebraska football. He's trying to teach the players like, hey, you can win. Not everything has to be perfect. You can win, but also I don't want you to think, well, you're just entitled to winning because you won. And I think there's a real balance there. And it's often an area where Nebraska has struggled. The few wins that they have had over the years, it feels like this sort of, monumental thing. Okay, we're over the hump. All of a sudden, next week comes out and you drop a stink bomb on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have to really guard against that right now, just in this program. It's just where it's at.
I love that he is not, okay, it's our first year here. I didn't recruit these guys. I'm going to ease them into my coaching style. No, the standard is the standard. Whether you want me here, whether you want to be here, whether it's my first year, my 8th year, the standard is the standard.
Yeah. So once again, another balance. On one side, in essence, you're playing an invisible opponent.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing yourself. On the other side, all you have to do is beat the team across from you. All you have to do is beat the team across from you by 1 point. You have to do enough. So if you have to tailor some things that only ends up working for this game, and he talks about and I've noticed this over the last couple of weeks now, he talks about that a lot with like personnel, right? So maybe, last week was a James Williams game and this week isn't. Maybe last week wasn't a Nick Henrich game. It wasn't. Maybe this week is, and they have enough, and both those guys are on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe they have enough guys on the defense where they're like, yeah, we can actually do this. We can tailor it. Okay. So Nebraska's facing a little bit something different this week. So what's the biggest challenge of facing a team like Purdue? Number 2, Josh. Sorry.
Number 2.
Matt
Rule.
Well, I'd say Burke's card. The run game. I mean, they're the I think they're ranked right now the 6th best offense, right? They're the 4th best passing offense. Like, they can score points and they're explosive. And listening to coach, it sounds like they're healthy. Like, I wouldn't have known that they weren't healthy, but those types of teams have kind of bothered us at times, right? That spread tempo, run this way, double slant backside, throw the ball up. Those things have La Tech, move the ball against us. And so they move the ball against a lot of people. We beat Illinois. We were excited, right? They beat them 44-19. So that offense is scary. The return game, the returners are scary. They have 3 back now, so he's obviously going to be in the mix. So they have dynamic players in those areas. And on defense, Coach Walters, they're going to get off the bus and they're going to play man and they're going to pressure us and they're going to blitz us. And, we're going to have to make some plays and pick those things up with a new group on the offensive line. So it's an even matchup. This is a great game. This should be a great game. It should be a great game right down the wire. And we'll just try to play our best to get to the 4th quarter, try to make one more play than the opponent and hope that we win the game.
It's a really good test. It's a really good test because they don't fall in line of, I think Nebraska has proven pretty generally over the last couple of weeks that they can get over the hump against teams. They can win football games against teams who kind of look like them, right? Illinois, not so great on offense, certainly not dynamic at all on offense. Same thing with Northwestern, not so good, definitely not dynamic. And Nebraska's checked that box from what they didn't check at the beginning of the year when they played a team like Minnesota. They should have won that game. They didn't. But if you played it again today, I think Nebraska would, right? Purdue's different. Purdue falls a little bit closer. It's the closest Nebraska's played in the category, setting Michigan aside just because their talent is sort of trumps everything else. Like Purdue, the team that to liken them to that Nebraska's played on their schedule so far is Colorado. And they held up okay in that game. Obviously, turnovers killed them, right? If they play the same game they did against Colorado, they're going to lose again. They're going to lose again this week. So that would be what they throw at them that's a little bit different. You guys have been talking about it in the comments, and I saved this. So the Rule mentioned the TV show. Said probably not ever going to do the TV show again, right? He talked a little bit more extensively about that here in clip number 3.
Yeah, no, it's kind of fun. That like my man Jay Litt. So we have CJ Campbell, Warren, Jordan Litton. They're awesome, right? They're awesome. So I told them like, hey, run with it, but like show it to me. So okay, there's some of them I don't want on there. Like they had some things like they had the Sunday practice. They had a lot of things on that Sunday practice before Illinois. And I said, hey, let's put that out in the off season. What I don't want is the guys feeling like, hey, they do something on Saturday and the next week it's on TV. And so then you start getting cautious of that. So, but yeah, they're the creatives. They're awesome. They really, they understand the ethos of the program. They understand what we're trying to get done. And I trust them, I trust them completely. So, literally like I jumped up on that crowd surf and that surfing thing last week. And as I was saying, get down, put me down, please. Cause I didn't trust myself to land on my feet. I was like, well, Jay Litt's going to send me that video here in a few minutes. So they are a great balance for me, who's kind of old school, and they're kind of like, hey, coach, let's do this. This will be fun. Mike Wallace does a really, really tremendous job for me, and they come to me with all kinds of ideas. And what I'll tell you, Mitch, is they do the same things internally. The highlight film we have every Saturday right before we get on the buses is awesome. We send like highlight films out on Thursdays and Fridays, like the old days of standing in a team meeting, showing plays. What I've learned is if I just send them a video, they'll probably watch that 10 times, and they'll probably listen to me while they're thinking about what do we have next. So I try to do some different things with them. But yeah, it's been fun. I normally would, like I said, I wouldn't do those things. But when my family was in Carolina, they were always looking for like, when's the next video coming out? Because they wanted to be a part of the program. So I started thinking about all the Husker fans and all the recruits and all the families. And I'm so proud of our team with the way we work and the way we do things. I want them to see the fire that we are under each week. Because for me, this is all about process. I just told the team we have 29 days left in the season. Like, what can't we do for 29 days at a high level? 29 days. That's it. Like we could do anything for 29 days. And so I just want them each day to try to get a little bit better for 29 days and see if we can't earn ourselves, a chance to play another ball game or so. So I don't know if they kind of went on this spiral there. I'm sorry, but
yeah,
that's I'm really grateful for the people that work in the football facility.
Thank you, Coach.
I like this guy. Like him a lot.
What can't we do for 29 days?
You can give me a month. Like, we got a month left. Let's.
When he said that, my mind started going crazy. Like, do you think you could live on a deserted island for 29 days?
The human body can go without food for what, 30 days?
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to find some food.
Yeah.
You'd have to eat something.
Yeah, sure.
You'd figure it out, right? Mm-hmm. Could you go to jail for 29 days?
I'm too pretty for jail, Connor.
I don't think that's true.
What?
I mean, look at
poll question.
Is producer Josh too
pretty for jail?
Pretty for jail.
I'm not scared of the result.
I think I could go to jail for 29 days. Right? It's 29 days.
Yeah.
What can I not do for 29 days?
I can endure any horrible thing for 29 days.
Do you think that like it might, do you think I could live without like air conditioning for 29 days?
The next 29 days here in Omaha?
Definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
What about the heater for the next 29 days?
Yeah,
I would hate it.
I could do it.
I would hate it. It would be horrible, but could I do it?
Stack some blankies on top of each other?
Yes. I did it for one night. I didn't like it last year, but it happened. And I thought to myself, yeah, we can make do. We can figure it out. So, yeah, I think the point is right. You can do something for 29 days. Mike says, Connor, you absolutely think you could live on an island for 29 days.
Add it to the list.
That one I'm less sure about than like the jail one. The jail one, like they give me food. I don't have to hunt for food.
No. Just have to hunt for survival.
Yeah.
Which gang would you join, Connor?
In the jail?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I would try it. I mean, I'm only there 29 days. I don't need to get that entrenched, right?
I don't need to talk to anyone. I don't need to make friends.
No, I don't think I need to build relationships.
Okay.
Keep my head down.
That's certainly a strategy.
Just keep my head down. Do my time. Get out of here.
Hit the biggest guy in the lunchroom right in the face with the tray.
On the first day. No, I don't need to be that high profile. 29 days. The island thing, I'm not convinced on that one for me. I'm not that convinced. Jail seems fine. Like I said, they give you food. It's great.
Jail seems fine.
Jail seems fine to me. Dion says, I couldn't stay in Omaha for 29 days. Too close to Iowa.
What?
Jamie says, can't listen to Taylor Swift for 29 days.
Oh, then there's a lot of things you can't do for 29 days, Jamie.
29 days in a row. I'm not saying constantly, but 29 days, the only thing you could listen to, like in your car, you can't listen to the show anymore. It's just Taylor Swift. You're saying you couldn't do that for 29 days? She's got a deep enough catalog. You'd be able to like go through all the songs.
Yeah. I mean, how long are you in your car?
Let's just say on average, 15 minutes each way a day. You can only play Taylor Swift or silence, I suppose. I can do that for 29 days.
Charles on YouTube asks,
Charles,
who would shank who first in jail, Odson or Happer?
We would not shank each. Odson wouldn't shank me. I wouldn't shank Odson.
No.
We would create a great alliance.
We'd get closer, if anything.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. We should do this.
Not like that.
We should do this for the bit, Josh. We should go to jail together.
Let's spend a weekend in jail.
Let's see what happens. Our shows would be awesome afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. We'd come up with such great ideas. I'd probably write a book. The Hot Take Alert graphic has been brought back. Hot Take Alert at Happer Show on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Jail seems fine. Sure. Let's go with that. The odd news is next. Our keys to the game are coming up right after. We have Sipple. We have the top 5. We have BC. We have picks. We're rolling downhill as we continue on in the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Ryan Radke here from Sunday Night Football on Westwood One. Join Mike Golick and me from Los Angeles when the Chargers host the Bears. Chicago rookie quarterback Tyson Bagent set to get his second start following a memorable debut in last week's win, while Justin Herbert and the Bolts hope to end their 2-game losing streak. Don't miss any of the action. Bears at the Chargers on Sunday Night Football.
If it's the NFL, it's on 1620 The Zone.
Sports fans, Let It Fly Sports Bar is your elevated sports bar experience. Indulge in our culinary touchdowns with a menu crafted to satisfy. Savory burgers, tender steaks, to our fire wings. Our world-renowned chef will leave your taste buds cheering for more. We've raised the sports bar dining experience with a new high-end design and incredible food. Whether you're a die-hard sports fan or just love the excitement, Let It Fly is your place. Host your next college game day watch party or private event right here. Elevate your game day experience at Let It Fly, located in downtown Omaha.
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Attention migratory bird hunters, it's time to get HIP, your new harvest information program number, that is. It's required by law and is done through the permit system on the Game and Parks website at outdoornebraska.gov. That's outdoornebraska.gov. I wish you a safe hunting season. Say it's the time of year to catch big fish in Nebraska. Zzz, bloop, and go visit a state parkland. This time of year, larger game fish are putting on the fat reserves for the upcoming cold weather season, and they're more apt to be caught. And Nebraska's 76 area state parklands, the grounds to those remain open for all kinds of outdoor recreation, including camping. So come see us. That'll wrap it up for now. Thank you for listening. I'm Greg Wagner with the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission.
It's Halloween at Genesis Health Clubs. Join with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every month. This offer ends in just 4 days. Genesis Health Clubs has top-of-the-line equipment and the absolute best personal trainers, tennis professionals, and group fitness instructors to help keep you motivated and headed towards your fitness goals. Plus, relax in luxury afterwards with saunas, steam rooms, and fluffy towel service. Whatever your fitness needs, Genesis is here to help every step of the way, and there's nothing scary about that. This Halloween, join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month. Just 4 days left. But hurry, this offer will end before you have a chance to count your Halloween candy. It ends on Halloween and won't extend. Come to Genesis and get in the best shape of your life so you can handle anything those zombies, werewolves, and vampires throw at you. Plus, get your New Year's resolutions checked off with time to spare. Join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month. It ends on Halloween and won't extend.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right, Josh. I sent a story this morning by you.
Oh, yeah, we can't do that one.
I didn't read it.
Oh, okay.
I was doing something else.
Sure.
I didn't read it yet.
Yeah, that's just for you.
But we can't do that one?
You enjoy that one. I mean, read that headline. You tell me if
you want me to read the headline out loud?
No, read it to yourself and tell me if we can do that story.
I have read the headline.
Okay.
Also, the accompanying picture is quite odd.
Yeah, I don't know what that picture's all about.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's not good. Definitely couldn't do that for 29 days. All right, what else? What else we got today?
The World Series starts tonight, Connor.
Yes.
And yesterday was World Series Media Day, where the media asked the participants a whole bunch of silly questions. And look, how do you pronounce this manager's name for the Diamondbacks? Torey Lovullo?
That's right.
Okay. He has doubled down on Mad Dog's retirement.
We just won't let this story die, will we?
No. He says, look, a deal's a deal. Specifically speaking on Mad Dog, Stephen A. Smith, you're my boy, and I need you to hold him accountable. Lovullo told the media on Thursday, I need you to keep going at him every single day. Don't let it stop.
Oh my God. Why do people want this so bad?
A deal?
I like Mad Dog. I don't want
too.
him to, I don't want him to leave us.
Pre-first take Mad Dog, yeah, get the hell out of here. He's rejuvenated his career. He's fun. He gets the bit.
Yeah, he totally understands exactly what he's there for. Yep.
Lovullo says a deal's a deal. I agree. You've got to. You can't back out of that one, Mad Dog.
People love saying a deal's a deal. There's nothing that people love saying more than a deal's a deal. You said this. A deal's a deal. People don't understand nuance and jokes.
Well, your word is bond, is it not, Connor?
I guess it is. But, I mean, did you think that Chris Russo would actually retire and that we would never see him again if the Diamondbacks came back and won that series? Never for 1 second. The fact that he actually entertained quitting the radio show or whatever was amazing to me. I thought that would be a wild move. Sometimes people say stuff, Josh.
Sometimes people do say
Sometimes people say stuff.
Mad Dog's contract is up next year. His Sirius XM contract.
Yeah, you can't just. That doesn't count though.
Right.
That's not paying up on the
hoping
bat.
there'd be a dollar amount in here. There's not.
Yeah,
because that is the reason he would not retire.
Correct.
We
bones.
Yeah, we moved to New Orleans for our next story. It was foggy in New Orleans the other day, and like Atlantans trying to drive in the ice, this also had severe consequences as a crash involving 168 vehicles.
Oh,
created quite the pileup on
I-55
in Louisiana. Now you got your people going to work in the morning, people going to school, people, travelers on the interstate. One intrepid motorist was Giselle
Bundchen.
No, that would be hilarious, though. It would definitely make the odd news. Chevalier, she got into her J&G International Driving School vehicle Monday. To test a student.
Oh, no.
The student said, hey, it's foggy. Are you sure we need to do this? We can reschedule. Where the driving instructor said, I'm afraid not. We drive in the fog. We drive in the rain. You gotta know how to do this. Let's do two birds with one stone. They got onto I-55 and navigated the entire 168 car pileup without a scratch.
Wow. I think they passed.
Yes. She said that amounts to acing your driver's test.
Very cool.
Congratulations.
Now, how do you just scoot by a 168 person crash? It seems like it would block the entire road.
Right. And in front of the car was a flatbed trailer. Behind them, a double 18-wheeler.
Maybe it was a Nebraska semi.
Yeah, no word on that. The pileups began. The student was trapped on the bridge for hours. They saw a fire truck driving in reverse to reach victims.
Did they get over?
Yes. She navigated it all just perfect. Scored a 100 on the driver's test.
Honestly, after you get done preparing and studying and you take the written test and everything and you finally have to go out to take the drive test, is it at that point in your life that you are most prepared for a situation like that?
Yeah,
like because you know, like you are fresh. You have fresh knowledge of all of the rules. Now you don't understand the little tricks. Only experience could bring that to the table.
Sure,
but like you understand the rules of the road. So I was never more prepared to deal with emergency vehicles than I was when I turned 16 years old.
Yet, virtually every young driver crashes their first car. It's weird.
That happened to me. Did you
Even
crash?
Connor Happer, the excellent driver.
I'm an excellent driver. No, I mean, you'd be amazed. Like, for as great as a driver I am, and I'm dead serious. Like, I'm an awesome driver. I'm such a good driver. I've been in two accidents and got a couple speeding tickets. None of it was my fault.
I've never been in an accident.
Not even the speeding tickets. They weren't my fault.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Well, I was driving on whatever that highway is. I don't even know what it was. I was going back to school in Creston, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
I was down there, and it's dark, and the speed limit is unnecessarily 45 miles an hour for stretches. And
stuff. That's dumb.
And I'm going up a hill, and I got to kind of get some momentum to go up a hill. And the cop's sitting right at the top of the hill. It's like, why are you going 60? And it's like, I don't know. Nobody's out here.
I'm endangering no one, officer.
Hurts nobody. So, yeah, even though my driving record has a couple blemishes on it, I'm trust me, I could drive with the best of them.
Okay.
It's in my blood.
Finally, we have an NFL comeback in the works, Connor. Do you remember the story of NFL linebacker Blake Martinez?
Well, I remember Blake Martinez, but what happened to him?
He retired from the NFL at age 28 to pursue a career in Pokemon card collecting.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yes.
I knew that he retired young. I didn't know why.
He made headlines last year for hitting big and selling a rare Pikachu card for $672,000 and walking away from football just days later to pursue Pokemon full time. The decision worked out for him, as he claimed to have made $11.5 million in less than a year in the industry.
I could have done that playing football too.
I imagine you could do both, yes. Martinez was banned from the popular Whatnot card selling marketplace for misconduct earlier this year.
Oh, no.
After an investigation into consumers' claims he wasn't acting in good faith. Now, the former Giants and Packers star is looking to pick back up where he left off, working out for the Carolina Panthers on Wednesday.
So he got kicked off of the card message board and now wants to go back to the NFL?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the solution?
That's the well, okay, they won't let me on this one card selling website, I will go elsewhere.
He got blackballed from the internet? What happened?
I mean, eBay is still a thing, right?
What was he doing? How much was he trolling?
It doesn't say. I have no details into the improprieties that may or may not have happened.
You know what you have to say to get kicked off of the internet?
Have you seen the internet?
You got to say some insane things, man.
Yeah.
That's wild. And so now he's going to go try and play football again.
Yeah, with the Carolina Panthers.
And it's been how long?
Low.
Hey, don't say that.
Don't
talk about my Panthers that way.
7 months.
Oh, it's been less than a year.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that he'll get a call.
In August, he was accused of scamming fellow enthusiasts.
All right, we gotta Josh answer the phone.
Okay,
because this is I'm receiving texts now that I need to answer the phone. Take my call, damn it, is what this just said. So we have a listener who has a story about me driving because he's been a passenger with me in the car for a couple different occasions. So we'll get Josh. Just put him through. Just hang it. Just put him through, and we'll get there here in just a second. All right. So this is against my better judgment, but we like to see the story from all angles because we cover it all here on 1620 The Zone, and so we have to see both sides. And here's Lanny on the hotline. Hi, Lanny.
Hey guys. I I was just listening to your show. I'm in town for the Purdue game this weekend, and I just wanted to give some info here, clarify the record on this whole Connor Happer being a great driver point. I just heard him talking about that, and, Hap, you've always said that, but those of us who have been in a car with you know that that's not exactly true.
Are you alive? Are you alive, Lanny? Are you alive?
Yeah, I'm alive, but is that the standard?
Well, I mean it certainly helps.
Yeah, you've never killed me in a car that I've been driving in with you. I'll give you that much. But I did want to just bring a little story to the air here real quick. Do you remember the time that you and I and Jake Sorensen drove basically through the middle of the night after the Friday Iowa? Yes. I think it was like a Tommy Armstrong game back in that era.
It was the 2015 Iowa game. Tommy Armstrong had thrown 4 interceptions. Nebraska lost by a touchdown to undefeated Iowa. And then we decided to drive through the night to Stillwater, Oklahoma to go to Bedlam the next day.
Yeah, and do you remember the portion? So it was your car, you were driving. I think maybe Sorensen was asleep, I don't remember, but I was in the back seat. We stopped off at a gas station somewhere, middle of Kansas, I-35, and we get I don't know, some food, some gas, some something, and there's a cop sitting in the parking lot of the gas station. And you blow out of the gas station and back up onto the on-ramp onto the interstate. And all this, we get, I don't know, maybe like a mile down the road, and we hear this. You get pulled over middle of the night, nobody around. It's kind of like, it's kind of snowing a little bit. It's kind of cold, it's sort of dark. It's the middle of the night. You're driving too slow is what the officer said. You got pulled over for driving too slow.
Because I care about my friends.
You gotta speed up here.
I care about safety, but you didn't tell the rest of the story where the semi in front of us was jackknifing in front of us.
There was no jackknifing going on. You did say that.
It was very slick.
I was watching the entire thing.
It was very slick.
Semi jackknifing. Okay.
It was very slick, Lanny. You know this. It was a very slick night. Everybody remembers that night in Lincoln, and then. It was pretty miserable in Stillwater the next day as well. It was very slick, and I wanted to go slow because I wanted to get us to our location. It didn't matter how much sleep we got. We were going to go to college game day the next day no matter what.
But you were going too slow, so slow that the long arm of the law thought that it was illegal how slow you were going. You know how they get those minimum speed limit signs on the interstate? You were going below that number, that it was dangerous for other cars to have to go around you because they would come up on you so quickly because you were going so slow.
Yeah, I call that safety, Lanny. Thank you for telling that story. It just makes me look better.
Yeah. You're welcome, everybody. This guy, if you're ever on the road, you're behind somebody who's driving 10 miles an hour in a 25, it's probably Connor Happer.
See you tomorrow.
See ya.
What do you think? How does that make me look, Josh?
Couple things. You have a bit of an old man persona, and that tracks with that story.
It's situational. It was situational awareness, Josh.
Had you just watched Black Sheep or something?
No. It was just situational awareness.
You were going 7.
I was not going 7. I apparently had dipped below 45. Okay. I had apparently dipped below 45. Because that's always the minimum, right? Or maybe it's 35. I had dipped below 45, and there was these trucks that were passing me. And trucks when you drive on the interstate during weather events, they don't care. They do not care about. And why would you if you're a semi truck? Because the worst case scenario, you slide out, you're fine. It's just the other guy that's on the ground in a tiny baby car that's dead. That's what happens. If you're in the semi, there's nothing stopping you from going 70 miles an hour. It doesn't matter. You could be in the biggest snowstorm of all time. So they're all flying by me, and here comes the cop, and he's like, "Hey, you're going too slow." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's really slick outside." He's like, "Yeah, I know, but you're going too slow." Well, you know what? Guess what? I'm gonna keep going pretty slow, Mr. Officer. And guess what? We all got there very safely.
Wow, talk about white privilege. I gave that officer what for.
Thank you to listener Lanny for calling into the show and giving us all the context we need.
I appreciate it. That's a brave move by Lanny to speak truth into power that way.
Back with our keys to the game next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
So, Isabella, you're in high school earning college credits?
Tuition-free college credits.
Tuition-free? Your mom's got a...
Love that.
Hey, Maya, hold up. You'll graduate from high school.
But my college gen ed's knocked out. Tuition-free.
That's got to save you and your parents thousands in college tuition. How about you, Ian?
I'll be debt-free thanks to MCC.
Earn college credits while still in high school. Tuition-free. Get started at mccneb.edu/tuition-free. Classes start December 2nd.
This is me at MCC.
I know my mom does everything she can, but most days we still don't have enough to eat.
Thousands of children in Nebraska and western Iowa are facing hunger. Visit foodbankheartland.org to donate and help nourish hungry families.
'Tis the season to volunteer. Here at the Salvation Army of Omaha, the bells will start ringing at our iconic red kettles come mid-November. That means we need you to volunteer. Ringing the bells at our kettles is a family fun activity that makes a big difference. All kettle donations stay local, and they fund everything from Salvation Army food and housing programs to behavioral health services and more. So sign up today at registertoring.com. And while you're at it, sign up your family, friends, church group, or coworkers too. Go to registertoring.com today.
If you're the kind of person who has the attitude that when you do a job, you do it right, not just one time, every single time, congratulations. You're a rare individual, the kind of individual the Langfeld family wants to pay very well to join the awesome crew at Langfeld Overhead Door. That's because the Langfeld family believes strongly in treating their employees right. You know, doing what's right, like you do on the job. Opportunities are available now. Click langfelddoors.com. That's langfelddoors.com. Equal opportunity employer.
Hey, if you're thinking about getting the latest iPhone, check this out. With Boost Infinite, you get the latest iPhone every year and unlimited wireless for just $60 a month. Yeah, you get the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium. Then again, next year, you get the latest iPhone. Every year. Boost Infinite. Infinitely better. To learn more, pick up your phone, dial pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. That's pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. Terms apply. After 30 gigabytes, service may be slowed. Receive a comparable iPhone model each year with an acceptable trade-in every year. Requires credit qualification and 36-month phone financing agreement. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dial text message from this station's network.
It hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, I never smoked a cigarette. How in the hell did I get lung cancer?
I don't smoke. I've never smoked. So I started Googling. One word just kept coming up, like it was in bold and red, and it was radon.
Radon is the number 2 cause of lung cancer.
Well, you don't know if it's in your home. You got to test. You can't see it. You can't taste it. You can't smell it.
What's your level? Radon Defense Midwest can help. Visit radonradio.com for a special offer. That's radonradio.com.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
We got a couple tweets here.
Oh, we love tweets.
On the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed, Jacob Padilla writes in.
Hi, Jacob. I know him.
Now, Jacob, keep in mind, hasn't had the opportunity to ride with me in a car and feel the warmth and the safety of me being his driver. Says, I feel like story time with Connor's friends needs to be a recurring segment.
Yeah, I would love that.
You just call up one of my friends every week and say, and either vouch for me or the opposite.
Rip us a yarn.
All right. Now, Lanny listens to the show sometimes. That's Denver Lanny.
Denver Lanny.
Denver Lanny listens to the show sometimes. He happens to be back for the game this weekend. And so
it is homecoming.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure that's why. Also, Husker in Arkansas, Husker in Arkansas's credentials are he was hammered during Big Red Overreaction last week.
Put the Hogs on the schedule.
Can we get a pic of Connor's car so we know to avoid Grandpa Happer when I'm in Omaha? I drive very, very normal. Very normal, by the way. Star Wars Fiend writes in on the YouTube, apparently Connor driving is comparable to the little old lady from Pasadena. Only during sleet and ice storms, guys. On roads that I don't usually travel in the dark. I feel like those are important caveats to this conversation.
Sure.
That's all. All right, Josh, keys to the game, shall we?
Keys.
Sipple's going to join us in a couple minutes. BC still coming up as well. We'll make our picks for the weekend. Josh will inevitably go like 5 and or 5-2, whatever it might be.
You want to stay tuned to that segment? Bet with me.
Bet with Josh, and you win. All right, let's start here. As I've told you guys, it's been a little bit difficult for me to get a grasp on this game this week. But I sort of thought it out over the last 48 hours. I've thought my way through this game. It's another telltale sign of me just having the confidence to be able to do anything. I really thought my way through this game, and now I have the answers for you. Here we go. We start here. Containing card. That's Hudson Card, Purdue's quarterback, former, Hudson Card, former teammate of Casey Thompson at Texas.
What?
So you look at Hudson Card, if you're just looking at this game from a statistical perspective, you're like, all right, what are we looking at here with Purdue? Not much. Hudson Card's rushing stats are certainly not anything that'll grab your attention. He's got 26 yards in the season total. It's amazing, frankly, that he is positive because he's been sacked 17 times. And they do this thing in college football where they count sacks against rushing yards.
Yeah, they do.
So he's lost 133 yards on those sacks. And you look at him, and we talked to him at Big Ten Media Days. I mean, he's athletic as hell. They're going to use that piece of it. I don't know how much it'll be designed. And I don't know how much, he'll just sort of beat you after a play is broken down. But I think this is a real challenge this week for Nebraska. He's athletic, and I don't think he's afraid to go. And, I think Nebraska has struggled with this at times this year. I mean, and we made the comparison to Colorado. Shedeur Sanders was never really a threat to take off and go, and that's the difference. But, oftentimes you'd see, and we've seen a little of this in each category for Nebraska this year. Can they get to the quarterback in time, and can they actually complete the sack, right? Nebraska has some of the best sack numbers in the country, but it's a little bit different when you're playing a quarterback like this. And so if you miss on the first guy, it compromises Nebraska's defense further. This is an area, for me, this is an area of concern. And I think we all think highly of the defense, and I want to talk about sort of pieces of that a little bit later when you look at Nebraska's defense. They still got some bend but don't break to them. And even though they've more bend but don't break to them than you would think for a team that has the defensive rushing stats that Nebraska does. It's a solid defense, but they have some bend but don't break to them. This is a concern for me. Containing Hudson Card. This is a piece that not many teams, if any, that Nebraska's played this year have had, like an element that Nebraska hasn't necessarily seen. And I think on top of all that, I don't know how really close it is just from what I've seen with my eyes. He's the best quarterback in the Big Ten West. Right? So they have that. Purdue's had great quarterback play for a long time now. They're not as explosive on offense. They don't have the dynamic playmakers. Maccabee's a good running back, and Tyrone Tracy's, formerly known of the Tyrone Tracy from Iowa, is a pretty good wide receiver. But Hudson Card, the Hudson Card piece of this game is concerning to me. I think he can do some things to Nebraska. So to contain Card is number one. Number two, get off the field. I mean, these are simple things. These are football things. I think Purdue's going to get some yards on Saturday. I know Nebraska's defense has been really good this year, but I think Purdue's going to get some yards. Like I said, they got a little bit more bend but don't break than a team that you'd expect to have the defensive rushing stats the way Nebraska does. Purdue is about middle of the road in converting third downs. Nebraska is about middle of the road in getting off the field on third down. It's been an area of concern so far this year at times if you're nitpicking Nebraska's defense. I think Nebraska needs to, and this will go a little bit more to the third point as well, Nebraska needs to control pace and tempo in this game. You got to get off the field. In order to control pace and tempo, you got to get off the field. You can't allow them to extend these long drives where they're playing the game on their terms and they're sort of gashing you a little bit on defense, because that's kind of what they want to do. They're going to win the game, obviously, with their offense. Get off the field on third down. If Nebraska's sitting there at halftime and Purdue is, 4 of 7 on third downs, that's probably not a good sign. Right. They need to be more like 1 of 6 or something like that. Don't let them extend those drives, because they do have some weapons where they can actually get into the end zone. And once they have successfully kind of spread you out and put the ball where they want to in the passing game, that's when the run game hits. They pass to set up the run. It's Graham Harrell, right? He's their offensive coordinator. They pass to set up the run. They don't run to set up the pass. They pass to set up the run. And that's where Maccabee can crease you a little bit. They've been successful on the ground, like comparatively to what it has been in the past. Maccabee, I mean, what did he run for, like 900 yards last year against Nebraska? I mean, he was everywhere. So you got to be able to shut the pieces down of what they want to do sort of first and foremost. Get off the field on third down. Third point, conventional run game for Nebraska. I just think in this game where it's a little bit more about pace and control and tempo than it is in some other West on West games, Purdue's a little bit different. I just think getting established in this game is such a big deal. Nebraska needs to play from ahead or tied. They do not need to play from behind. Nebraska does not need to play from behind in this game.
Not equipped to do so.
Nope. Especially against a team that, and you don't want to get, you don't want to be in a situation where you're going to start having to take chances too much on defense. That's where they can get you a little bit. This is my main problem with last week. I understand that the first play of the game, the first play from scrimmage was there for Nebraska. I understand that they drew it up and it theoretically worked. They had 2 guys open. It would have been an explosive. At least it probably would have been a touchdown, but for Nebraska on the first play of the game. But I think for this one, they wanted to send a message last week and everything. I don't necessarily agree with putting your quarterback, who's been inconsistent at best in the past game, in those situations, especially right off the bat. I think he's better when he's got a rhythm. I think he's better when they establish the conventional run game. And as they began to get back to that into the third and fourth quarter, that's when the Malachi Coleman pop over the top works, right? So it's a plan. It's easier said than done, right? But that's Nebraska needs to control a little bit. In order to do that, they gotta have the conventional run game going. Emmett Johnson was good last week. We didn't see enough of him. And Heinrich Haarberg is going to add some more. So 75 to 100 yards with the running backs, another 50 to 75 with the quarterback. That's a good recipe for Nebraska. Obviously, they want to run for 75 in the fourth quarter. And, that's the best it can get on offense for Nebraska right now. But they have to control pace and they have to control tempo. And they can do that via the conventional run game. As long as the quarterback is not putting it in harm's way all the time, and you don't put him in positions to put it in harm's way all the time, it could be a process that works for Nebraska, given the limitations that they have on the offensive side of the ball. Those are my keys to the game. I didn't name them as cleverly this week as I usually do. Sorry. Containing card was kind of good.
I like the keys. Those are good keys.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. You got any keys? You got any thoughts?
The weather could be a factor.
The weather could be a factor. A good point. That probably favors Nebraska.
I think so.
A little bit. So, and I think that sort of just emphasizes what I said.
Asterisk to the weather favors Nebraska, wet football.
Now, could it get worse in fumbles, even with a wet football? I don't know. People have told me this week, never ask that question. Don't ask that question. Can it get worse?
Maybe that mentally they go, hey, the football's wet. I really got to work on protecting this football. And they protect the football.
I'm excited to see Nebraska's, retooled offensive line. There's an excitement there, sort of a morbid curiosity. But, I think it's true where people get sick of seeing the same thing over and over again for a long period of time. It's like, let's try something else. Let's see what happens. And you hope that these 5 games this year can help some of those guys in the offensive line be better for their development in their future. What will it mean for Nebraska's offense? I really don't think it means all that much. And that's not too much of a slight to Turner Corcoran and Ethan Piper. The guys, it always helps when you have experience. Those guys have been around for a long time. But I'm definitely curious to see something else up front. And for Nebraska to have a chance to develop those guys. Steve Sipple is coming up next. Brian Christopherson in the 1 o'clock hour. Our weekend picks are coming up as well. Still plenty more to come. The Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Yes, by theory, it's a lesser version of the NFL because it's the same sport, not played by as good of athletes. But it's got its own vibe, as Nick would call it, its own feel, its own pulse, its own pace. And those are the things I think get lost if we just pare it down to helmet games.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
A blustery start to the afternoon, a little breezy. We'll see those clouds clear out and hit a high eventually of about 42 degrees. Mostly clear overnight, waking up tomorrow morning to a temperature in the upper 20s. An afternoon chance of a wintry mix rolling through and then hitting a high temperature tomorrow around 38 degrees. I'm meteorologist Luke Vickery, KETV Newswatch 7.
More with Connor and Josh after this.
We're going to have an extensive professional relationship, my man.
On 1620 The Zone. Caller 4 right now, 402-951-1620. Qualifies for 1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em. It's your chance to pick 4 football games correctly against the spread to win $1,620. Call 402-951-1620. Call now to qualify with 1620 The Zone.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Our Cox mobile plans are like a band. The more people you add, the better it sounds. So, add more lines to save more. Pay as low as $30 per line when you add 4 or more gig unlimited lines. It's easy. I like the sound of that. Visit cox.com/mobile. 4 lines required for $30 per line price. Max of 5 lines. Prices exclude taxes, device activation, and other fees and charges, which are subject to change. Cox postpaid internet required. Other restrictions apply.
Creighton Sports Update.
We are officially 1 week away from the return of Creighton men's basketball. Catch the number 8 Blue Jays in action for the first time this season in an exhibition game versus the Wayne State College Wildcats on Friday, November 3rd at 7 p.m. Purchase your tickets today at gocreighton.com/buy. We will see you at the CHI Health Center Omaha Arena. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank. Any member FDIC.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Sharp along with Nick Handley. And right now, if you are a new customer, yes, a new customer, listen up. $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money bet. That's $150 if your team wins.
Yeah, and if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there is no better time to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much more. All you got to do is visit FanDuel.com, use the promo code ZONE. That's FanDuel.com/zone, and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable. Bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Steve Sipple,
Hut, hey! The conversation gets even more uncomfortable, okay? Omaha!
Steve Sipple on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Thank you, Seether. We're joined now on the 42 Degrees Source hotline by Stephen M. Sipple of Husker Online on 3. Sipple, hello. How are you?
Connor, how are you?
Good. What are you doing today?
Eat a sandwich at the moment.
Are you expecting any plumbers to drop by?
No. That was at my neighbor's house, but they were doing some work that entailed being in our yard too. So
they just had to ask your permission to go in the yard.
Yeah. It was actually very kind of them.
He was a kind plumber.
Yeah, plumbers. It's quite an operation.
All right, Sipple. What do you like? I'm just going to ask you just broadly. Like, do you have a read on this game? This, tomorrow Memorial State. There's a weather thing that's sort of had a real cloud and another kind of cloud over it, like it sort of clouds over the entire game. So there's the weather aspect to it. And Purdue is a little bit different and sort of a difficult team to get a read on so far. And then you obviously have all Nebraska's problems. Like, what do you think about when you look at these two teams getting together?
I think I have a read on. I think it's really evenly matched. I think it'll be much tougher than last week for Nebraska. I don't think 17 would win this game. I don't want to overdo it on Purdue praise because it's a 2-5 team, but there's 3 results that really hit you like a sledgehammer. They played Fresno State tough, 39-35 loss. Fresno State's 6-1, and that's a legit good team. Purdue beat Virginia Tech, which at the time didn't seem like much of a big deal, but Virginia Tech's 3-1 now.
Yep, they've turned it around.
Yeah, they've righted themselves. And Purdue put 44 on Illinois. Again, 2-5, and they're not great, obviously, but there's things that concern you. Hudson Card concerns you. Now they don't have a Rondale Moore or Charlie Jones or a David Bell anymore. They just have a bunch of okay receivers. They got a good tight end. The thing that would concern me a little bit if I were a Nebraska fan is Tyrone Tracy's back at running back. He ran for 112 against Illinois and got hurt. Now then of course they have Devin Mockabee who ran for 178 against Nebraska last year. All this is adding up to me to be tough. It's got to be tough. This is going to be a tough game for Nebraska. Northwestern gashed Nebraska on the ground a little bit last week. I like this Nebraska defense, but I don't know that you can just say they're going to shut everybody down. And then on the other end, they're bad on defense. Purdue's not good on defense. They're not. But they have one area that's pretty good. A couple areas that are pretty good. They got a good safety, but the 2 outside linebackers are good. Their pass rush is pretty good. So Teddy will be tested. Teddy Prohaska will get tested here, as will Benhart, as will the line. They average 3 sacks a game. So I think it's 2 pretty,
Yeah.
I think people are reading this right. This is going to be close, down to the wire, I imagine.
Yeah, I want to ask you about some of those new guys on the offensive line in a second, but like back to the defense, you were talking about it, and it sort of struck me like Nebraska has one of the top rush defenses in the country, and it's so much so that like teams are kind of stopping to run it against Nebraska. They'll give up on it pretty easy. Like, does it does it feel that way? Like, I don't look at this defense and say, wow, it's a dominant defense, but the numbers would tell you otherwise. I still feel like they have some like bend but don't break to them. And that's mostly because they haven't gotten a whole lot of turnovers this year. Like it's funny with this defense because the stats look awesome, but I still feel like, man, I have concerns in some areas.
Well, yeah. Part of it is that they don't have the glaring superstar, right? They don't. It's a bunch of good players that play well together, and they haven't racked up a bunch of turnovers. And in fact, Nebraska's -8. So, I mean, and there's been times when they've been a little vulnerable. The glaring example being Michigan, but there's been other times, like last week, they were a little vulnerable last week. They tightened up, they gave up some big plays and tightened up in the red zone. And if Northwestern would have had Ben Bryant that game, their starting quarterback, 17 wouldn't have been enough. So yeah, it all sort of adds up again to, this is a scary one. I mean, I think it is. I think it'll be tough. So yeah, as far as the defense goes, though, I think a lot of it, Happer, is they just don't. They're good. They got a lot of good guys, but there's no Randy Gregory,
right.
Sue, David, name a all-time great. They don't have that type of guy out there.
What is your level of confidence? Rule touched on this yesterday a little bit. Like, what's your level of confidence that Nebraska, like in a close game, and maybe, who knows, maybe they're even down and they need to drive late or something like that, but like in a close game late, they can do enough to win it, where the last two wins haven't necessarily fallen into that category. In fact, you could look at them both and say, well, Nebraska should have been up by a lot more than they were, but they kind of flubbed it on offense. Like this will be actually legitimately even, and Nebraska, needs to find a way to win it, and they need to do so without some big time guys on offense.
Yeah, if it comes to that, that's a really good question. Like if it comes to, Purdue leading 21-17 with Nebraska getting the ball with 150 left, final possession, could Nebraska engineer that sort of drive with this offense? I don't know. Now Albano kicking that 47-yarder against Northwestern that helps your confidence. Not with a 4-point deficit, obviously, but
yeah.
If you have to kick one to win it, it'll be tough because tomorrow the wind's going to be swirling. He kicked that ball against Northwestern into the wind. He's got a strong leg. I don't think any questions about Albano or about leg strength. He can hammer it. It's just been accuracy. On the other hand, by the way, Purdue's 3 for 9 on field.
Yeah, really bad.
Yeah, they're the worst in the Big Ten. So that's Nebraska an edge. But back to your question, that's a really good one. Could Harburg engineer a late drive where they had to go 70 yards? Come on. I mean, this is a really limited offense, especially in the passing game.
What's the best it could look for Heinrich Harburg? I mean, it's been so difficult, maybe not necessarily to get a read on him, and maybe he's shown enough where it's like, okay, well, we kind of understand what he is at this point. But do you think it exists in him where he could, sort of keep the ball out of harm's way and manage like I think they want him to?
I'd like to think so. Yeah, I think we see that a little bit. I don't know. The first things I think of with Heinrich are he's limited in the passing game. What's his percentage? Like 51%, 52%. It's the worst in the Power 5, and I think it's bad. I mean, 52% is not where you want. 51% is not where you want. I'm surprised in it too. I don't understand it completely. I think he looks okay throwing the ball. I get the arm motion conversation. He's got a pretty strong arm. He's just, he's not throwing too much. I don't know. The thing about Heinrich is this offense desperately needs big plays.
Yeah.
So he gives you that. When he turns the corner on the option, it's business time. I mean, he's a deal now. I mean, for a smaller linebacker or a DB, 6'5", 220, and he can run. So to me, it's just about that with him. I mean, he gives you that element. He's their best runner, Connor. He's their best runner.
Yeah, no doubt.
Better runner than Emmett Johnson or Anthony Grant. He gives you more than that. So that's what it's about to me. And all the other stuff, I mean, the way I look at it is all the other stuff you just kind of gotta accept, understanding that as a runner, he's going to do some heavy damage to a defense.
It's interesting because I got the same sense from Rule this week. He was like, I think he said something along the lines of, we're at the point as an offense where like we want to be aggressive and we want to start pushing it downfield a little bit more. And I found that interesting because usually like as the offense continues to get beat up and it hasn't performed all that well and it turns the football over, like usually what happens is they go into a shell of itself, right? They start getting really conservative. And the way Rule talked about it this week made me think they kind of want to go the opposite. And that would be a little bit more to Heinrich's skill set, but it would certainly, put the ball in harm's way a little bit more. It's a lot of risk.
Right. What's complicated the discussion is last week. He took a step back and they won. And Heinrich made some plays, but he took a step back in that game. I didn't anticipate that. I thought coming off of a bye week that they would kind of get their kitchen in order,
Me too.
And instead you walked into a kitchen and all that. There's like dirty plates all over the place. You're like, what? You've had a week to clean this up. Why isn't it cleaned up? It's like walking into a college kid's house. Like, what? Well, you had a week to clean up all this crap. Why is it dirty? And that's what I was thinking. Not that horrible analogy, but that's what I was thinking in the first quarter. Like, what? This is what you get after a bye week. I mean, come on. So hopefully it's just first of all cleaner, and second of all, just you got to stop putting the ball on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, those things are going to get you, and I don't know. I feel like I do this thing every week where I talk about the opponent like it's Georgia coming in here, but I have some respect for Purdue, and listen, they've had a lot of success against Nebraska.
Sacks. Nebraska has 24.5 so far this year. It's been pretty good. They had 8 last week. They're on pace for more than 40. And Rule said at the beginning of the year, if you get 40 sacks, you're going to win 10 games. They're not going to win 10 games because of the aforementioned turnovers. Do you think? I mean, and this is the big week for it because they're going to drop back and pass a little bit more. Purdue is than some teams that you'll see the rest of the way. Maybe sans Wisconsin, I suppose. But like, do you think Nebraska can keep that going and continue to sort of like confuse people up front and where they're bringing pressure from?
Absolutely, I do. I mean, it's a healthy front 6, front 7. Those guys are veteran guys. They'll be ready to play. Yeah, I absolutely think that'll be the case. Now, getting to Card and getting him down to the ground,
big.
Yeah, it'll be a little different. It'll be hard. I don't know. Now, I don't know. You'd have to look. I don't know how much he's been sacked, but my guess is
17 times.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a bigger number than I would have anticipated.
But you're right. He's athletic though. Like he can escape you, and that's I just brought up in the last segment. Like I think they're going to bring pressure, but you got to get him. Like because if not, it's going to be trouble.
Oh, he's 6'3" and I think 215, and he played receiver in high school early.
Yeah,
early in his high school career, as Rule mentioned that this week, and it's true. He had 13 touchdown catches. I think it was his sophomore year at Lake Travis. He was a receiver and a good one. So yeah, he's athletic. He's been sacked 17 times. I still say it won't be easy. But now what's the passing conditions going to be like? That's another. That might work. I would say that would work in Nebraska's favor if it's the weather that we anticipate, which is, I think, in the low 40s with and gusts up to 15, 20 miles an hour. That's not great. That's not a great passing day. That would give some advantage to Nebraska. I don't think a big one, but some advantage. I go back to Purdue can run it. I mean, might be the thing that concerns me more than anything in this game is Maccabee and Tyrone Tracy, and them getting too much done on the ground. So I'd watch that pretty close.
All right, Sipple. We will let you go. Appreciate you taking the time. Oh, by the way, people were wondering, what kind of sandwich are you having?
Oh, I just made a turkey sandwich. It's really basic. It's some kind of trick spot, some weird turkey, like seasoned with something. But I put a bunch of cheese and lettuce and mayo on it, so it doesn't even really matter what the meat is at that point.
But like, what's on the turkey? Is it the pepper turkey? Is it like the Cajun?
Yeah,
pepper turkey is delicious. I love pepper turkey.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's fine. Everything's good. Chips. I put some chips on the sandwich like people do, you know.
Do you put it on the sandwich or do you put it in the sandwich?
In the sandwich.
And then you crunch it down, crunch the bread on top?
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. You got it, Happer. It's like you're my son.
Well, I'll talk to you later, Dad.
I'll see you in the press box.
I will not be there. I'll be at the game watching in the stands amongst the cold Midwestern folks of Nebraska.
You can handle it if you dress appropriately.
I will. Thank you, Dad. I appreciate that again.
All right. See you later.
Steve Sipple, HuskerOnline.com. I put a bunch of cheese and a lettuce on there.
Doesn't matter what you put in after.
That's once again, we've said this a lot. That's food to Sipple. It's just fuel, right? It's like, yeah, I guess this is turkey, but it's got some stuff on it. Well, pepper turkey, it's really good.
Yeah, that's a quality turkey. I don't know why you call it. What do you call it? Weird?
Yeah, kind of weird.
Kind of weird turkey.
All right, that is up. I used to do chips on top of the sandwich, and people would always be like, well, that's stupid because then they would just fall off, right? It would be really kind of a mess. Yes, but also no, because you get like the kind of chip, like kind of powder on there, and they're still a little crunchy.
Okay.
It's almost like a dusting on there. It works. I completely understand that it's more difficult to pull off.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
More labor intensive, but that's what I used to do. And it keeps the chips from getting soggy, which is always a concern inside the sandwich with all the mayonnaise. All right. Thank you to Steve Sipple. Back with Josh's top 5 next on 1620 The Zone.
I'm a fabulous driver.
The Connor Happer Show
I'm one of the best friends you could ever have in your life.
on 1620 The Zone.
I hate you.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Join me and Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner this week when the 5-2 Lions take on the 3-4 Raiders. Las Vegas hopes the expected return of Jimmy Garoppolo can get them back in the win column. Jared Goff and the first-place Detroit Lions are looking to bounce back. Don't miss any of the action on Monday Night Football.
If it's the NFL, it's on 1620 The Zone.
'Tis the season to volunteer. Here at the Salvation Army of Omaha, the bells will start ringing at our iconic red kettles come mid-November. That means we need you to volunteer. Ringing the bells at our kettles is a family fun activity that makes a big difference. All kettle donations stay local, and they fund everything from Salvation Army food and housing programs to behavioral health services and more. So sign up today at registertoring.com. While you're at it, sign up your family, friends, church group, or coworkers too. Go to registertoring.com today.
It's obvious the unthinkable is happening. With all the recent media distractions, most folks never saw it coming. But a few did. Their guts told them something very wrong was going on. And now the headlines are proving them right. The people in charge keep telling you that everything's fine and to stop noticing. But you know better. Folks are investing in emergency food storage, and you should too. My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, are the ones you can trust. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one for each family member. My Patriot Supply also sells biomass stoves, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, gravity-powered water filters, heirloom seeds, and survival gear that may come in handy soon. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today. It's time to prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
The 16th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes are coming to town to take on your undefeated and 20th ranked Omaha Maverick hockey team this Friday and Saturday at Baxter Arena. Tonight is 90s night. Chris Kirkpatrick of NSYNC and Omaha native Brian McFadden from MTV will be in attendance and available for photos. Wear your best 90s outfit and get your tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554-MAVS or by going to omavs.com/tics.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres? In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. And now try Babbel for free by texting TRAVEL to 64,000. Text TRAVEL to 64,000. That's TRAVEL to 64,000.
All right, Josh, what's the topic of your top 5 today?
Well, since you have no takes on James Harden, maybe you'll have takes on the top 5 sports malcontents of all time.
Okay.
Maybe some of these jackasses you'll have an opinion about.
I bet I do.
Now, caveat this. We're going like non-criminal malcontents here. We don't want to, Aaron Hernandez isn't on here, okay?
Yeah, well, I mean,
OJ.
He was definitely not content.
Yes.
But we mean maybe malcontent with their sports situation.
Yeah. Like,
I'm not going to show up to practice.
You got to the water cooler one day and somebody said, hey, did you see what so-and-so did?
I'm going to go lift weights in my driveway. That guy on here?
That's on here.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown, great example of a guy. Not
now,
on this list.
There's a gray area.
Yeah. There's some criminal activity there, but he's not Ray Caruth.
Okay.
Former Panther.
Gotcha.
You got to watch it. You got to know this stuff, Connor.
Let's go, Josh. Let's see it.
You got to know if someone brings up Ray Caruth in your Panthers chat.
God, come on. Take forever.
Number 5.
Don't take the bait. Number 5, Bob Knight.
Bob Knight
seemed generally unhappy most of the time. A lot of antics.
Now, are we doing this by unhappiness or are we doing this by, okay, so he was unhappy with like the media.
Yeah.
And most of his job responsibilities.
Yes. Just like seemed to have what's the exact opposite of a sunny disposition? Cantankerous?
Cloudy. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when he threw that chair onto the court?
I do.
Yes, I know he choked out a player, but
I haven't seen the Bobby Knight throw the chair across the court highlight in a long time.
They used to show that every 4 hours on ESPN.
I know. Interesting. Wonder if that means anything.
I think it does. I think it means we cannot celebrate this man anymore.
Okay. Well, we only celebrate him on this malcontent top 5.
Number 4.
They just showed they're going through some Rangers highlights on the MLB Network right now, and they just showed one clip of Jacob deGrom crying. Now, Josh, he's injured, and he has had a rough last couple years. But they showed him right as the Rangers were about to clinch against the Astros there in Game 7. I mean, the game was well in hand, and they were showing the Rangers dugout, and I was like, oh my God, that's Jacob deGrom. I forgot about him. Remember how awesome Jacob deGrom was?
The Rangers could be better.
Yeah.
Next year or something like that. Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
Where are we at? Number 4?
Yes.
John McEnroe.
Johnny Mac.
A lot of antics from this guy. Remember when he
He
yelled
loves
at the
antics
ref that time?
Yes, he yelled loudly.
All those times. Every weekend.
Yep. Ended up showing up in movies and TV shows as just a psycho guy.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in Mr. Deeds?
Oh.
My favorite movie?
You would know. You're the Mr. Deeds
He
correspondent.
showed up in a Sandler movie.
He sure did.
Mr. Deeds, right?
Yeah.
And what was he doing?
He played himself in Mr. Deeds, and then again in 2008's You Don't Mess with the Zohan.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I don't think.
Terrible. One of the worst ever.
So yeah, he was just John McEnroe, and he was like a himself accentuated,
sure,
that type of thing.
What the hell is this caviar?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I can't remember exactly. I need to watch Mr. Deeds again. I need to tighten up. Hawaiian Punch.
3. Combination of 3 and 5.
Number 3.
Now this one I had to wrestle with because the criminal behavior is there, but I put him on the list. Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson?
Baddest man on the planet.
Yes.
He bit a man's ear off in the ring.
Now,
people forget.
I don't know if there's a debate about this or if I'm equipped to have it, but...
Oh, we're not equipped to have any of these serious debates, but please proceed.
So did Mike Tyson being the way he is help or hurt him in the boxing ring?
In the boxing ring,
it probably
helped
him,
yes.
Right?
Unfortunately.
What about his career? Did it help his career? It certainly didn't help his image.
Well,
that he cared.
There was that long period between retirement and like, hey, Mike Tyson's different now, guys.
So like I usually think of malcontents in the sense of like he can't, this person cannot help the way that they are, and it is affecting their sports career. Right? I'm gonna hold out for a contract. I don't like playing for this coach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like any of my teammates. I don't like the quarterback, whatever. Like it affects their sports career, even though we all know they're good players. In Tyson's case, he's kind of just a wild man, and it may have helped him actually in his sports career. Just an observation.
In his sports career.
By the way, Josh, news out of the football league, the National Football League.
The National Football League?
Ryan Tannehill is ruled out for Sunday. What Schefter says is Will Levis and Malik Willis will replace him.
Yeah, they're going to play both.
But it seems like it's going to be, we'll definitely hear more about the debut of Will Levis on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons.
Hopefully we're taking a big old bath of mayo on Sunday.
And eating bananas weird.
With the Will Levis show.
Here comes Number 2.
This is the person I thought of when I envisioned this list. Terrell Owens.
Yeah.
He got hit by a car this week.
He did?
Yes. He mouthed. Now, I don't have all the detail. I believe he mouthed off in a pickup basketball game.
And someone ran him down in their car?
Ran him down.
Yikes. He's okay, right?
Yes.
Okay. Usually when you get hit by a car, it's something pretty bad from an injury perspective. But yes, one of the most famous malcontents of all time. Never was happy with the situation.
Never.
Very emotional.
In Calabasas.
Did a lot of things for show. This is a good one.
Remember when he ran to the Dallas Cowboys star and tried to disrespect the star?
Yep.
And
was promptly decapitated
by
who?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
I thought for a second it was Deion Sanders, and then I said, wait a minute, that wouldn't have tracked.
No. That was too late for
him. Yeah.
He lifted weights in his garage with his garage door open, his front yard.
Just looking for a job.
Wonder if the media will sniff this out. Oh, looks like they will. Also,
they found me.
That's my quarterback.
That's my quarterback.
My quarterback. Still can't look at Tony Romo and not think that. Still.
I used that line
my quarterback.
Saturday. I was tweeting for the Reavers. And quarterback Hunter Watson, NJCAA Offensive Player of the Week this week, by the way, he scampered into the end zone, and I tweeted, "That's our quarterback."
Did you use a GIF?
I did not, because I had a touchdown image that I had to use.
The old graphics.
Yeah. You know. Number one malcontent of all time. It was not Terrell Owens, the person I was thinking of when I envisioned the list. Who could it be?
Make it so, number one.
Number one.
I'm going to go Dennis Rodman. The wedding dress. He kicked that photographer the one time. He missed an NBA Finals practice to show up on WCW Monday Nitro.
You went to Vegas that one time?
The hair.
Yeah. That pretty much tracks, Josh. It's hard for me to disagree with this.
Okay.
I'd love to poke holes, but I can't.
Well,
Dennis Rodman, very famous malcontent.
Very famous malcontent. Now, lots of others that could have been on the list. I assume you have some.
I hadn't thought about it much.
Okay. You don't just sit around thinking of malcontents?
No, not at all. I actually tried actively not to.
I thought of Meta World Peace, formerly known as Ron Artest.
Yeah, he definitely had. I mean, the through line on all of these is they have lots of other interests.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hadn't thought of
that. Goon writes in, James Harden.
He was under consideration, did not make the final cut.
He's definitely a malcontent. He is not content.
Allen Iverson. I think he just didn't like practice, but that was pretty much it, right?
So it's interesting the way we categorize these people, because like I feel like in order to be a malcontent, to have the label of malcontent, it has to sort of overtake their career. Like you think of this person and you think of like, oh well, they didn't do this. Yes. They didn't show up to this. Right. And I think for the most part, my memory, like all the guys that you listed, definitely that would qualify. But yeah, James Harden's probably there now too.
Yeah, I think so.
For sure. Johnny Pick says Le'Veon Bell. He essentially ended his career because he, sat out that year.
I'm going to bet on myself. Oh, what? No one wants me?
Turns out you're a running back in the NFL. We've learned
read the room.
We've learned a lot about running backs in the NFL since then. Yeah. How many baseball guys do we have in this category?
John Rocker.
John Rocker.
He might just be a jerk.
A lot of those. A ton of jerks.
Yes.
In baseball. But
who's a malcontent in baseball?
Like
nobody really
don't hear about
says,
contract holdouts.
Yeah.
Baseball. That doesn't really exist.
That's a huge factor in this, right?
It's the first one that I think of.
Even though I named quite a few people who did not work under contract: Mike Tyson, John McEnroe, Bobby Knight.
All right. Thank you, Josh.
I definitely nailed the top two. Thank you, Connor.
Yeah, it's a bit of an abstract list.
Yeah.
So I think you did the best you could. And I don't say that sarcastically. That's Josh's top five. We'll come back. Bryan Christopherson moves around. 1:00. He got done talking to Fred Hoiberg today. We'll get an update from Crime Town, where crime is rampant again. BC joins next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres? In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. And now try Babbel for free by texting TRAVEL to 64,000. Text TRAVEL to 64,000. That's TRAVEL to 64,000.
Hi, everybody. Kent Pavelka here with why I chose Everlevel Concrete Repair for my driveway. They do it all. They fix cracks, lift sunken slabs, protect the finished product from deterioration, and all at a fraction of the price of replacement. It's not a Band-Aid like other repair methods. Everlevel's products are designed to last, which is why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Better yet, it all comes with a transferable warranty. Protect your concrete before winter. Call Everlevel today for your free inspection. Everlevel. They make your driveway Everlevel. Level up.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up autosave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Autosave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Every Friday, we bring you discounts to some of your favorite businesses in the Metro. The thing is, once a week just isn't enough. Get ready for OmahaWeekendDeals.com. Every weekend, you can find big deals, 50% off or more to even more of your favorite Metro businesses. Like this weekend's deal to Madness Haunted House on Pioneer Trail in Council Bluffs. Get 2 admissions, a $40 value for just $20. Head to OmahaWeekendDeals.com to get yours. That's OmahaWeekendDeals.com.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
Hey, Brian.
Bryan Christopherson.
I got to take this a tap.
Be right, be Rooney. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
Bryan Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, Bryan Christopherson joins us now on the 42 Degrees of Source Hotline. BC, hello. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Good. Well, since we razz you enough about the sports teams, and I always like to do that. It's part of the show. We have to give you a chance to gloat about your Vikings from Monday night.
Oh, I won't go too far with that. My boys are 3-4 right now. That was a had to have it win. The only thing I'd say about the Vikings is it didn't shock me that they pulled that game off or were in it. They play with everybody. They're the kind of team that can lose to anybody and beat anybody. So they're not like a complete embarrassment or anything like that. They're just one of those teams that in the moment, usually when it has to happen and you have to be clutch, they usually don't deliver in those spots. But I was proud of the boys Monday, and I was proud of Kirk. He played really well.
Yep.
Schaefer and I are kind of Kirk defenders. And his documentary or the quarterback show helped him on Netflix and it brought a few over to our side. But we're trying to convert people every time we can get. So that helped.
Well, you've had to defend primetime Kirk for years, and that's meant one thing. But recently, it's meant a completely opposite thing. He's been great in primetime this year.
Yeah, and anyway, it's usually not his fault completely. He's had a few duds, but there's usually surrounding circumstances to why he has struggled in the record-wise in those games. I think win-loss stats for quarterbacks like the stupidest thing ever, too, when you just use it without any context to it. But yeah, Kirk, I would love it if Kirk were the quarterback of the Vikings the next 2 years. That's how strongly I feel about him. I don't think that's going to happen. All these Vikings fans want to move on and take their lottery pick or whatever and hope they get the next special guy. those are hard to run into. So I think sometimes you take for granted when you got a guy who's, 8 to 12 at his position in the league. I would take that and gladly have that as our guy the next couple of years.
Hey, before we get to football and the game tomorrow, you were over at talking to Fred Hoiberg as they have their first exhibition on Sunday. What'd you take from Fred? How excited is he to get going here on this weekend?
It was one of those times where you kind of catch someone in a bad sequence of events for their team, where I think he really likes the team as a whole, but they're just hurt right now. Rink Mass is a very unfortunate incident. Not every details come out about it, I don't think, but a random act of violence, as Fred Hoiberg said, against him. This is one of the key cogs of the team, and this happens, a week or two before you're about to start your season. So he's going to be out Sunday, and hopefully that's not long, but that's unfortunate. Jawan Gary is, a disciplinary action. He's out at least this game, and Josiah Alec got a little bit banged up too. So you're hoping most of those guys are back very early in this season, if not by the opener. But that's a little bit of a deflator when you're kind of excited to see how all the pieces fit together, even on Sunday in an exhibition game, and they just won't be out there. They're going to play a lot. Mater Chop's going to play a lot as a freshman. That'll be fun, but he's really their only big that's available against Stone. So it's one of those deals where they're just going to have to work through it for a week and hope guys get back sooner than later, with the opener still 10 days away. All right,
BC, let's move over to football. Nebraska and Purdue tomorrow. So I sort of categorized it earlier this way. Like, the last two games that Nebraska's played, it was certainly possible that Nebraska could have lost them, but they were, if it was 50-50, it's skewed in Nebraska's favor. Is this this game against Purdue, is this more of a true 50-50 game this weekend?
Yeah, it is. And they can't get away with some of the stuff they did in both those recent wins and probably be on the right side of it. Although, that said, Illinois, right after that Nebraska win against them, they played pretty good football the next 2 weeks and showed, they can be a decent team. So you don't want to take too much away from that. But you can't start the game, obviously, like you did against Northwestern and put your defense behind the 8 ball that many times. This offense just has to really cut the unforced errors. It's not like you're expecting them to make a ton of game-breaking plays, but what you do want to see is, catch the snaps. Don't put yourself in 2nd and 15. Don't miss on wide-open throws where you got the play there and it ends up being a pick and the ball's on your 40-yard line. It's that type of stuff where if they can just be a little crisper about some of those things and take away those 4 to 5 plays, you put this game on the back of your defense and you say, we'll take our chances. And I know Purdue's got some weapons on the offensive side of the ball, but that's also a very inexperienced Purdue O-line. And even though Hudson Card has good feet, they've given up 17 sacks. I think they ranked 92nd in the country in sacks allowed. Nebraska obviously has 24 sacks. So this is a game where you got to contain Card and be aware of that, not let him have those 2 or 3 breakout plays with his feet, but also you hope you can get to him 4 or 5 times, because I think they are capable of doing that against this Purdue O-line.
Do you, and listening to Matt Rule's comments during the week, and obviously there's been a lot of changeover on the offense with a couple offensive linemen out, and who knows what sort of difference that might make for Nebraska's offense. I was surprised last week that they came out and threw it on the first play, and obviously it led to the interception. It might have scored. It might have got at least an explosive play had they hit it. I was mildly surprised that they sort of approached it that way. And hearing Matt Rule talk about it this week, it doesn't necessarily feel like that's going anywhere. I think they want to be aggressive because that sort of lends itself to Heinrich's game a little bit more. But I think the approach to this one is interesting given what you just said, BC. Like, Purdue has some more explosiveness. I feel like the more that you could sort of contrast with them and you could control the ball works in their favor. So I'm interested to just see how they approach it from the offensive standpoint.
Yeah, I agree with you. Rule's exact quote, I think, in his radio show was, "You got to risk it for the biscuit."
I didn't hear that one. That's great.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, it didn't probably get enough pub. It should have. But yeah, so, I mean, that's the way he is. He's got a little bit of that to him where it's like, you know what, we're still going to play football. We still don't want to take away aggression from these guys. They've been playing all their life, and they're used to, whether you're a stronger running team than a passing team, you still got to, have it as a weapon or something the other side has to recognize. That said, I am a little bit with you. I get nervous whenever Nebraska's throwing the football. You just don't know exactly what's going to happen. First off, you're worried if the snap's going to be caught the way it's gone. And then, just like, what is the completion percentage at like right now? It's like
51, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so that's scary. If the Harburg who played, it's kind of a weird game to bring up, but the Michigan game, I don't know if they had Nebraska charted for run plays on those particular ones, and they were surprised. But when Harburg threw that was a Michigan sign stealing joke.
I got it.
Okay, but Harburg threw the ball pretty well, like the first 2.5, 3 quarters of that game, the best I've seen him, where he was like 10 of 12 to start, and he just looked crisp and confident that day. And the other games, he hasn't quite had it like that. So if that Heinrich could show up, that would go a long ways for this offense. Of course, it gets harder when you're dealing with, skilled guys who are young and they don't always know where they're going either. So this is a really choppy deal. We kind of have to accept them for what they are. That said, I'm kind of with you, Hap. It's like, pound it out. Let's see if they can get Emmett Johnson going. I have liked when he's touched the football so far and kind of his burst and the way he can see the holes and stuff. So I'm interested if they can get him rolling and get him close to 100 yards. That'd be a big deal.
I just think comfort seems like a big deal for him. You mentioned it, and I think maybe the best couple throws he's made he's taken some deep shots and they've hit. The one to Marcus Washington in the Illinois game. But I think about right when they came out of that second half against Michigan, and he hit Washington on a deep, slam, basically a post route. Like he just, and Nebraska was out of the game at that point, so there's a reason for all this. But like he seemed comfortable and just sort of there. The rest of it has just felt rushed, and that's like BC. That's not limited to Harburg. Harburg has been the guy, so he's the guy that we talk about. But I felt the same way with Sims too. Just a little bit rushed. I feel like it'd do Nebraska a lot, wonders to sort of have a just good conventional drive, but maybe that's asking too much.
Yeah, Harburg might be in that phase of the game where you're not. I think it was Rule or Satterfield who mentioned this, where at first you're kind of playing off instinct and it kind of works, and then you've started a few games. And you're sort of in that phase where you're actually, because you're learning stuff, you're kind of trying to process it as it goes a little bit too much, where you're actually thinking through the 2 or 3 steps that could happen on a play. And sometimes that leads to making mistakes, or you let it go and it is off target because you're probably overthinking things a little bit. So I don't know if that's the case, but one of the coaches brought that up. I thought that was an interesting point. So we'll have to see if Heinrich can, have that calmness that you need to have at the position. And he's going to have to just be a rugged runner. That's really his biggest asset. They need him to be a guy who can lay out some punishment when he runs the football. And hopefully, you get that option going where they give him the lane and he has that 30-yard play when you need it. That sort of stuff this group has to bank on right now.
Are you morbidly excited for some Big Ten weather tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, this is a Big Ten game through and through. It's going to be a Big Ten game on the score. I assume we're going to see a few punts on the other team's side of the field where you try to pin them on the 4-yard line. And all jokes aside, that's like the sequence in these games that's going to decide it. Like Nebraska's going to have a scenario tomorrow where they punt the ball, they pin Purdue on like the 5-yard line. And that's where Tony White's defense has to come through and be ballers, and get that ball right back, and you end up scoring off of that chain of events. So we can kind of make fun of it sometimes, but that's the style of play we're watching right now. It's the style of play Iowa has specialized in for a long time, and Nebraska's just going to have to be really good at it in those scenarios as we finish out this season.
All right, BC, we will let you go. Appreciate you taking the time as always. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, thanks a lot.
Brian Christopherson of Husker 24/7. We'll give our exact scores coming back. Me and BC feel the same way. I think it's hard to feel that much differently about this game. It's funny. In Nebraska, I don't think either team is capable of winning by more than 10 in this game.
That sounds like yeah. That would be.
I would bet my life
number.
on that one. That's not happening. Nobody's winning this game by more than 10. Write it on the board.
Ooh, on the board.
Yeah, actually, now that I say it out loud, I'm a little worried about it. But I think it's going to be close. Going to come down to the fourth quarter. That's for sure. We were back with our picks for the weekend, which she updated on Josh's lovely, outstanding record.
Strong.
Now we'll try and just chip away at it week by week. Back with more on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on The Crossover.
Let me mow it for you. Hire me.
Hire Nick.
I don't know if I'll hire you, Nick. I'm
sorry.
really good at mowing.
Wow. He's offering his services.
Okay, fine. How much do you want
to
charge me? I'm bad at this. I don't want to lowball myself.
You're
cancel.
totally
cancel. $50, Josh. Give me 50. For how many times? One time? Yes.
Mornings with Sharp and Hanley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
A blustery start to the afternoon, a little breezy. We'll see those clouds clear out and hit a high eventually of about 42 degrees. Mostly clear overnight, waking up tomorrow morning to a temperature in the upper 20s. An afternoon chance of a wintry mix rolling through and then hitting a high temperature tomorrow around 38 degrees. I'm meteorologist Luke Vickery, KETV Newswatch 7.
Drive away with a 2024 Mazda CX-5 from Woodhouse Mazda today. Combined with standard iActive all-wheel drive and available turbo engine, this CUV provides an elevated driving experience. And right now, you can get into a Mazda CX-5 turbo model and choose 0.9% APR for 36 months, 2.9% APR for 60 months, or 3.9% APR for 72 months. Woodhouse Mazda, a drive worth experiencing. With approved credit, tax, title, license extra when financed with Mazda Financial Services, $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires 10/31/23. See dealer for details.
You know, if we know anything, it's that local matters. Local shops, local restaurants, even locally brewed beers. October is Drink Local Month. So the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild is challenging beer, seltzer, and cider drinkers like you to put your palate through its paces and drink local brews. Because seriously, Nebraska is really on the cutting edge when it comes to brewers who think outside the box. And besides, you really want to be drinking what they drink over in Iowa? Didn't think so. Click Nebraska.beer to find brews near you. The 16th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes are coming to town to take on your undefeated and 20th ranked Omaha Maverick hockey team this Friday and Saturday at Baxter Arena. Tonight is 90s night. Chris Kirkpatrick of NSYNC and Omaha native Brian McFadden from MTV will be in attendance and available for photos. Wear your best 90s outfit and get your tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554-MAVS or by going to omavs.com/tickets.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here with Dr. Lance Kugler of Kugler Vision. You know, it's been 5.5 years since I had my procedure done at Kugler Vision. I remember going in for the eye analysis and finding out, hey, there's something other than LASIK.
Well, I think it's important to have a full analysis of the eye so that you can make a good recommendation. A lot of the patients that we see have been told over the years, sometimes a long time ago or sometimes more recently, that there isn't an option for them. And I think that's just because they haven't had as in-depth of analysis as they need to know for sure what their options are.
And I think one of the coolest things about that entire process was how comfortable I felt. And I know as I've talked to other people who had procedures done, they said the same thing, whether it was the consultation, whether it was the day of the procedure, all of those questions were answered. And like there was genuine care for me as an individual person.
We all have the same goal. We want you to see as well as you possibly can.
Schedule an eye analysis today, 402-558-2211, or you can visit their website, kuglervision.com.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
Omaha Maverick is home tonight at Baxter Arena, facing off with Big Ten powerhouse Ohio State. Pregame is at 6:45. Puck drops at 7 p.m. It's UNO versus Ohio State tonight on your home for Maverick hockey. News Talk 1290 Coil.
All right, welcome back. More of the Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Time for our picks for the weekend. We review so far through the season. We are through now week 8 of college football, heading into the 9th week. Josh and I both 4-2 last week.
Okay.
So I raised the standard. I have gone above 500 in 3 straight weeks.
Wow.
And during that time, have dropped 2 games on you. So that's how hard it is right now.
Okay. Overall records?
Connor, 25, 27, and 1. I mean, just keep it up, right?
That's
head
that's
above water.
That's 500.
Josh, 36, 16, and 1.
Wow. I'm not doing this to gloat. That's incredible.
It is. And you'll get a text from me every Saturday night that says, screw you.
Screw you. Backdoor cover.
What are you doing? What are you doing? How are you doing this?
Why?
You're a witch.
Why did the Ohio State Penn State line jump like 4 points between your show?
I'm not sure.
And when I bet on it Saturday morning?
I'm not sure because I said, Josh, no, you're good. I mean, you hit him. It's 5.5, and you're like, oh, I bet him at 9.5.
9.5. I didn't win my bet.
Yeah. Like, no, you're good on picks. I'm not sure why it jumped late. I don't have any idea. But we go to this weekend's games, and we begin in. Well, let me make sure we get the odds right too. We begin in Lawrence, Kansas.
Big noon kickoff.
Big noon kickoff, where the Oklahoma Sooners, number 6 Oklahoma Sooners, are 9.5-point favorites at KU. Big noon kickoff, 11 a.m. on Fox. Kansas will be without Jalen Daniels again, and I imagine they'll be without him the rest of the season.
It's been a question mark for him all season long. It feels like at this point, why?
Well, the rumor is that he wants to take his red shirt and leave.
Oh, okay.
And go to Oregon.
Oh,
that's the rumor.
Ooh, that's enticing.
That's the rumor.
Okay.
I'm not confirming it. That's the rumor. Josh, you pick first.
Give me Oklahoma here. They feel like they've got a lot of goals in front of them that, quite frankly, Kansas doesn't have. I know the environment will be pretty jacked in Lawrence, but 9 feels pretty safe.
Give me KU.
Ooh.
Give me KU to cover this. I like Jason Bean. I think the number goes up, obviously, without Jalen Daniels. Kansas does fine. They do what they do. I think in some areas, they have the coaching advantage here. They obviously don't have the talent advantage. But they're physical. I like KU to keep this within a touchdown and, potentially make a run at it. Oklahoma obviously coming off of their weirdo game to UCF.
That was kind of my thinking, like, okay, surely they're not going to almost slip twice.
Okay.
Right.
You think they have their attention now.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go with KU. I'll fade you, Josh.
Okay.
That is Big Noon Fox tomorrow. Number 1, Georgia makes its first appearance on this list in weeks. Ooh, maybe for just a second or third time this year. Number 1, Georgia is a 14.5-point favorite against the Florida Gators. This is at 2:30 on CBS. Now, this game is a neutral site game, right?
Yeah, in Jacksonville.
This is in Jacksonville. Not the world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
That would be
anymore.
In poor taste.
People forget that. So Florida's got some momentum now. Graham Mertz is throwing it around the yard. Georgia has Georgia's gone through these bouts of like, are they okay? Oh yeah, they're definitely okay. I feel like when they're challenged or when the world says, hello, this team is going to challenge you, that is when they awaken. Georgia to cover the 14.5 points.
No Brock Bowers for the Bulldogs. Florida seems to have some momentum. The hook is the difference in my eyes. Give me the Gators here. I think Georgia only wins by 14 points.
Okay. Let's see. Let me go to Oregon and Utah here.
2 matchups picked, and we've both picked the other side. I'm terrified.
Number 8, Oregon is a 6.5 point favorite at number 13, Utah, 2:30 on Fox. I made my position known on this yesterday.
You did?
Give me Oregon to cover by a touchdown on the road. I know what Utah did to USC last week. I think a lot of that is because of USC and their softness. And I just like Oregon. Give me Oregon.
Connor's exactly right. Give me Oregon here. I just don't know where Utah gets the points to hang. They have a great defense. They can limit Oregon, but I still don't know how Utah scores enough.
Here's a little off the radar one, but 2 ranked teams.
Okay.
Number 20, Duke. Duke's shown up here like 4 times now.
Yeah.
At number 18, Louisville, who's a 4.5 point favorite, 2:30 on ESPN. Look at this 2:30 slate, by the way. Nebraska's playing at this time. You have Georgia, Florida, you have Oregon, Utah, and you have Duke and Louisville, as well as our Sickos game of the week, which we'll talk about here momentarily.
Oh, wow.
That makes this my pick.
Your pick.
My pick.
Okay.
I'm riding Duke all the way home, baby. I love Duke. I pick Duke every time.
You do.
Give me Duke.
You do.
And I see you, Duke. Last week, they should have covered. They borderline should have won, and they ended up losing by 18 points. All right? It was not indicative of what they did against Florida State last week. Give me Duke. What is Louisville?
What
is Louisville?
Great question, Connor. Yes, they popped up and beat Notre Dame, but other than that, what is it? They've lost to Pitt. I know Duke is a pretty decent little football team. Riley Leonard was questionable to return last week. I believe he played a little bit, right?
Give me Duke.
Yeah, give me Duke here.
Give me Duke. Number 3, Ohio State is a 14.5 point favorite at Wisconsin, 6:30 on NBC. Your pick.
My pick. This feels like a 35-7 Ohio State. Give me the Buckeyes.
Oh my God. I couldn't agree more. I was thinking along the lines of 31-0.
Yeah, like
so we're in the same territory.
Yeah.
Ohio State covers this number on the road. I think they do it without really much of a concern at this point. Our Sickos game of the week. We remain in the Big Ten Conference this week. No, it's not Nebraska and Purdue, although it could be.
Could be.
We're going to have some snow. The over-under is creeping lower and lower and lower as time goes on. But we'll stay in the Big Ten, and we'll stay in the Big Ten West, where we will head up to Minneapolis this weekend. And PJ Flecktown, fresh off of having sex with that pig trophy. Michigan State is at Minnesota this weekend. Also, the week of Michigan State, another week in the life of Michigan State, where Mel Tucker was officially found. It was officially found in the investigation that he did indeed break some school rules while attempting to have phone sex. Bad call by him. They are
one of many.
Minnesota is a 7-point favorite, 2:30 on the Big Ten Network.
Oh, it changed.
Yeah, I got it down to 7 for you.
Oh,
is this tricky for you now?
The hook was the difference.
I'm just going with the live. I'm going with the live line. This is what I got on
FanDuel
Sportsbook.
That's how the game is played.
I'll take Minnesota. I hate it though. This is the dumbest game we've ever picked.
At 7.5, I had Michigan State because I think Minnesota's going to win by exactly 7 points. So, give me the Gophers.
Josh, you pick a push and you can get double the points if you want to. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to put that out there.
Tempting, but I will take the Gophers here.
And we end in Lincoln. Purdue is at Nebraska, who is a 2.5 point favorite tomorrow at 2:30 on Fox Sports 1. Now, a note here, as I've said, the total has dropped. I believe we started in the mid to upper 40s at the beginning of the week. We have dipped into the 30s, 39.5. Weather is a concern. I've cooked up a score in my head. And guess what? I am going with Nebraska to win the game by one singular point.
Ooh.
20-19.
You love a weird score.
I love a weird score.
I love that about you.
20-19, which I guess means I take Purdue to cover.
You said the total's 39.5?
Yes. I don't know about you, Josh, but 20 plus 19 is what?
20 plus 19 is 39.
That's right.
I have a 40-point total there. Nebraska 23, Purdue 17.
Amazing.
Nebraska.
I was thinking about Nebraska. They get more predictable as we go along.
Yeah.
That's it. We both have Nebraska winning. You have Nebraska covering. I don't.
I don't know that Purdue's offense is going to be able to get rolling in the way that they want to.
Thank you, weather.
Yes.
Back to finish things out. Poll questions, tell you what to watch on the other side on 1620 The Zone.
Brian Radke here from Sunday Night Football on Westwood One. Join Mike Golick and me from Los Angeles when the Chargers host the Bears. Chicago rookie quarterback Tyson Bagent set to get his second start following a memorable debut in last week's win, while Justin Herbert and the Bolts hope to end their 2-game losing streak. Don't miss any of the action. Bears at the Chargers on Sunday Night Football.
If it's the NFL, it's on 1620 The Zone.
Hey folks, Kent Pavelka again to tell you about your local concrete experts at Everlevel Concrete Repair. Now, if you have cracked, uneven concrete, Everlevel can fix it at a fraction of the cost compared to replacement. This is no Band-Aid. Their products are built to last. It gives your concrete the durable protection it needs, and there's still time. I chose Everlevel for my driveway, and I've got peace of mind with their long-term transferable warranty. Everlevel's products and customer service are top-notch, and that's why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Say it with me. Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel.
It's obvious the unthinkable is happening. With all the recent media distractions, most folks never saw it coming. But a few did. Their guts told them something very wrong was going on. And now the headlines are proving them right. The people in charge keep telling you that everything's fine and to stop noticing. But you know better. Folks are investing in emergency food storage, and you should too. My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, are the ones you can trust. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one for each family member. My Patriot Supply also sells biomass stoves, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, gravity-powered water filters, heirloom seeds, and survival gear that may come in handy soon. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today. It's time to prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here from my friends at Union Omaha. Once again, a regular season champ. The first team to do it twice in USL League One. They enter the postseason on a 14-match winning streak, and they will be playing again on Saturday, October 28th at 4:30. You can buy tickets right now at unionomaha.com. Do not miss out on this great opportunity as they return home to Warner Park on Saturday the 28th. Buy the tickets at unionomaha.com.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Every Friday, we bring you discounts to some of your favorite businesses in the Metro. The thing is, once a week just isn't enough. Get ready for OmahaWeekendDeals.com. Every weekend, you can find big deals, 50% off or more to even more of your favorite Metro businesses. Like this weekend's deal to Madness Haunted House on Pioneer Trail in Council Bluffs. Get 2 admissions, a $40 value for just $20. Head to OmahaWeekendDeals.com to get yours. That's OmahaWeekendDeals.com.
Quick update out of Crime Town.
Oh, no.
With the rink mast situation. So allegedly, the person who assaulted rink mast and pushed him off of a scooter and led to a broken nose for Nebraska basketball's, one of their starters coming up. They'll have to miss the exhibition game. Was apparently and allegedly identified as former Millard North and North Dakota State linebacker Nick DeLuca, who played in the NFL for a couple of years.
Whoa.
He was a first-team All-American in 2018 and ended up playing in the Senior Bowl that year.
What?
What a place.
Wild.
What a place.
Makes it seem a little less random.
Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it? But I don't know why would they have any connection with it?
Sure, but a couple of athletes,
I guess.
Maybe a girl was involved.
We head to the poll questions. Josh?
Okay.
Should Nebraska be the semi-truck school?
Yeah, let's go. Let's make it happen.
As well at this point. 78% say yes. Is producer Josh too pretty for jail?
100% yes.
No.
Oh.
We're currently polling at 50-50.
Come on.
Dead heat.
Look at this. Look at this visage. What is it? What's the word? I don't know. I'm not too smart for jail. I'm too pretty.
Chips in the sandwich?
Most voted on poll question of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
61% say yes.
Not all the time, but it has its place.
And finally, very early results here. What is Louisville?
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
58% remarkably are saying no right now.
Oh, come on.
Interestingly enough. Those are the poll questions. Josh, what are we watching tonight?
We're watching the World Series tonight, 7 o'clock on Big Fox, 119th edition, as we found out earlier today. Diamondbacks and the Rangers, Game 1, Zach Gallen versus Nathan Eovaldi. George W. Bush will throw out the first pitch, and Her will perform the national anthem.
Oh!
Because wherever there is a national anthem to be performed, Her just shows up with her guitar.
Seriously.
And says, I'm ready, coach.
She's done everything.
Yes. Game 2 is also tomorrow night, also on Big Fox, Merrill Kelly versus TBD.
Okay, can I start my World Series predictions?
Absolutely.
So we won't have a game Sunday, so we'll just have the first two in the book before we get back on Monday. Give me a split in the first two.
Okay.
With Arizona winning game 1. I think it's a grinder tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona gets to Texas's bullpen late. Texas comes back. They get the bats out in game 2. And we're split off at 1-1 before we go back to the desert.
I like that. I like a split on Monday as well. NFL this weekend. Here's the games you're going to get locally. Noon on CBS, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, in a game that I looked at the map. I believe 80% or more of the country is getting for
Interesting.
some reason.
Duval, America's team.
Yeah. Chiefs, Broncos after that at 3 o'clock on CBS in the Mile High City. Noon on Fox, Vikings, Packers. And then Sunday Night Football, Bears, Chargers. Okay.
Nice.
College football this weekend. Actually, tonight on ESPN2, 6:30 start for FAU in Charlotte. Iowa State at Baylor tomorrow, 2:30 on ESPN+.
Oh, no.
So you got to dig a little bit, Cyclones fans. I apologize. A lot of games going on at 2:30. Let me give you one more. Here locally at Lewis Central High School across the river, number 2, Iowa Western. Hosts number 14, Iowa Central. Arch rivals going at it for the cup, a conference championship. It's all on the line tomorrow at Lewis Central High School.
What's the cup? What's the cup called?
It was originally called the Kinney Cup because former Iowa Western president Dr. Kinney was the former president of Iowa Central. He came over to Iowa Western.
Oh.
And then at a certain point, he was the president of Iowa Western, and his son, also Dr. Kinney, was the president at Iowa Central.
And now they just call it the cup?
Yeah, now it's just the cup because dad retired, son moved over to Iowa Western, where he is now the sitting president.
Well, wouldn't it theoretically still work if
I have said this. I have said, why is this not still called the Kinney Cup? And I was overruled, apparently.
All right.
What do I know? NBA this weekend, ESPN, 2 games tonight. Heat Celtics followed by Warriors Kings. There is a nationally televised hockey game at 6 o'clock Sunday on TBS between Calgary and Edmonton.
Nice.
So they're going for the non-football audience right there. Not a bad strategy, I guess. Let me list off 3 movies very quickly for you here before we get out of here. Peacock has Five Nights at Freddy's for the Halloween crowd. Something called Pain Hustlers is a movie on Netflix starring Emily Blunt, Chris Evans, and Andy Garcia. And Paramount Plus has a South Park special titled Joining the Panderverse.
I'm mildly interested in that.
Yeah, I usually dip in. I usually get around to the South Park specials.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That is what we're watching this weekend, and that is the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Big Red Overreaction after the game will be hosted by John and Josh.
That is correct.
Who are going to join us next on the crossover.
Live from the